Howdy, boys. I'm Jim Raynor, Marshal of these parts.
My name is Arcturus Mensk, and I represent the Sons of Korhal.
I am the Overmind, the eternal will of the Swarm.
I am Judicator Aldaris.
I am Tassadar of the Templar.
I am the Queen of Blades, and my stare alone would reduce you to ashes.
There's no doubt about it. Brood War doesn't arrive gently. It hits us from every angle emotionally, and it ensures that we know where we stand. The slideshows are back, and we're given a brutal reminder of how the original game ended. The Overmind is gone, and Aya is in ruins. As the Executor, we're in charge of the Protoss forces that remain and move to reunite the Sons of Aya whilst dealing with the Zerg across our homeworld. Landing in a ready room located in an isolated base, we find both Aldaris and Zeratul waiting for us. Bet you didn't think that would ever happen. Aldaris does his usual Judicator shtick by paying tribute to Tassadar, but states that with no support available, we're going to have to make do with what we have.
Greetings, Executor. Though we all grieve for the loss of mighty Tassadar, we must find the resolve to carry on. He sacrificed himself to destroy the Overmind, but many Zerg still rage across our ruined homeworld. Without the Conclave to lead us, or the protection of our great fleets, it seems we must fend for ourselves.
Zeratul actually agrees with him, and highlights that it's pretty obvious at this point that the Zerg are going to keep coming for us unless we get out of dodge.
Aldaris is correct, Executor. As we have both seen, the Zerg will not halt their rampage until every last one of us is dead.
This is where he suggests something unique.
I suggest that we retreat to our last functional warp gate and travel to where the Zerg cannot follow us.
Aldaris, however, can't help himself, and proceeds to highlight that the pride of the Protoss people is to stand and fight, but Zeratul gives him a gentle nudge stating, it's a bit of a silly idea.
With all due respect, Zeratul, the Protoss do not run from their enemies. Ire is our homeworld. It is here that we shall make our stand.
Just as your Conclave did. They are dead now, Aldaris. Dead because they allowed their pride to blind their reason. Only if we learn from their mistakes can we live to avenge them.
Zeratul then throws a curveball and suggests that we all come and stay with the Dark Templar on their world.
Now, Executor, I know of a place where we can find solace. It is Shakuras, the secret homeworld of my people, the Dark Templar.
He doesn't directly say it, but Aldaris is surprised by this, questioning if they'd be welcome.
Your people? We would be seen as tyrants to them. Why would they shelter us?
You can almost picture the eye roll that Zeratul gives here, telling him that not everyone in the universe is a dick.
Have I not pledged myself to your cause? Not all beings are as unforgiving as your lamented Conclave, Aldaris.
Aldaris is quick to adjust his stance and agrees with Zeratul,
You are right, of course.
before addressing us and telling us what happens next, right before introducing a new Praetor.
Executor, Zeratul shall find us passage to the warp gate. After the gate has been secured, Phoenix and the new Praetor Artanis shall lead our surviving brethren to Shakuras.
And I will get crucified if I don't address this. In the remaster, Artanis looks awesome. In the original, yeah, not so much.
Executor, I am Artanis. Though I have only recently been appointed Praetor, you can trust that I will uphold the honor and traditions of the Templar.
We shall see.
And just when you thought he'd forgotten about us, Jimmy pulls up, asking if he can tag along too, and Zeratul, of course, is more than welcoming.
Hey boys, mind if we tag along? I figure heading anywhere has got to be better than staying here with the Zerg.
Commander Raynor, as ever, your assistance is appreciated. We would be honored if you joined us.
So, the first time on the ground after the Overmind's defeat, the Scourge flying across the screen is an absolute class act from the developers. It quietly reinforces the fact that the Protoss are no longer running the show here on Aya. Instead, they are at the mercy of the Zerg. With Zeratul leading our small band of zealots and dragoons, we charge into the fog of war, only to start getting called out by Zerglings. A little way down, and Zeratul notes the Nidus canals, suggesting that getting rid of these prevents unwanted backup.
Destroy these Nidus canals so as to stem the flow of Zerg reinforcements through them.
Detectors are not readily present here, so you can either send Zeratul in to do the wet work or use the squad as a whole to speed things up. However, this isn't the case moving forward. Be careful sending him too far ahead. More Nidus canals and some scattered defenses become apparent, but nothing that we can't handle. As we progress down this map, we can see the battered and broken Protoss buildings, flames rising from them, confirming that what we once knew here is now lost. Further down, we just so happen to run into some zealots who appear to be heading to the same objective as us.
Entaro Adun, there is no time to waste. We must join our brethren in battle.
A welcome addition, of course, especially if you've been unlucky to lose a few up to this point. We find a platoon of our brethren throwing down against a horde of Zerg ground units, no doubt mobilized due to the canals. Zeratul notes how reassuring it is to see more Protoss warriors fighting.
It is good to see more of our brethren on the battlefield.
This first mission doesn't bother with a warm-up. It assumes that we've completed the previous campaigns in all their horror and glory, and has no issue with making the picture clear. This isn't just a sprint to an objective, it's a fight for the very survival of a species. Now, I said in my previous Protoss campaign video that I thought the Protoss soundtrack was gorgeous, and this time round is no exception. Each species in Brood War received one extra soundtrack for the OST, and the Protoss edition is perfect in its ambience. Signaling both an infinitesimal hope and a lingering sense of dread. As we finally reach where we think we need to be, we're greeted warmly by a small force headed up by some Templar.
This is all that remains of our forces in this province. We have found the location of the warp gate, but there is a sizable Zerg force blocking the way.
Shield batteries are here, which gives us a little pick-me-up should we need it after the battles up to this point, and of course, where there are High Templars, Archons aren't usually far behind. We finally get to the warp gate. Any inkling we have of doing something with this base is quickly put to bed, as Zerglings come screaming at us with no ending sight. As our forces make for the warp gate, a shuttle flies in and drops both Raynor and Phoenix off, with Jimmy telling us to just get on with it. Phoenix and himself will hold the line until it's done.
Worry about getting your people through the gate, Executor. Phoenix and I will hang back and protect our flank until everyone is through.
Artanis is the first to sound off, and he does so in a way fitting of the new Praetor.
Entaro Tassadar, Executor. The survivors from Ire have made it safely through the gate. Yet, amidst the chaos of our retreat, we lost contact with Phoenix and Raynor. I fear that they may have been overrun by the Zerg.
Zeratul reassures Artanis by informing him that Phoenix is pretty much bomb-proof at this point, and Raynor has a habit of surviving everything that comes his way.
Fear not, Artanis. Phoenix is as stalwart a warrior as I have ever known, and the Terran Raynor has proven himself to be highly resourceful in the past. I for one believe that they made it here safely.
He then goes on to suggest that we go and get the lay of the land. see where we could put some roots down so that we can center ourselves in the search for the Dark Templar.
But while we wait for word from them, we must reconnoiter the surrounding area and find a suitable location for a more permanent settlement. Once we're situated, we can begin to search for the Dark Templar.
Welcome to Shakuras, a unique and somehow fitting vision of the Dark Templar home. This realm of twilight, cold and dark, gives off an unwelcoming vibe that honestly feels so correct for Zeratal's people. Correct for the Nerazim. With a mix of probes and zealots, we head off to have a little look around, only to find that the Zerg have already arrived, with Artanis stating,
There are Zerg on Shakuras. They must have taken control of the warp gate on Ire.
Breezing past that little interruption, we find the perfect spot and begin to do our thing. And as we begin to get the ball rolling, Hydralisks decide to pull up and ruin our day. But out of nowhere, we hear several phrases that are called out in Kalani, the Protoss native tongue, but not ones that we're familiar with. Once the invaders have been slain, one Dark Templar greets us, and the surprising thing? He's pretty relaxed about the whole thing.
Glad I am to see that you've returned home after these many decades. But the strange guests that have followed you here seem ill-tempered.
Well met, my brother. Indeed, these creatures known as the Zerg have no regard for the sanctity of life. Once we have secured this area, I shall tell you everything I know about them in council.
I'm sure the matriarch will be eager to hear your tale as well.
The matriarch. Now here's something we never considered. As the executor, we have praetors and judicators, so it only makes sense that the Dark Templar would have something adjacent to this, and a perceived female at that. We're then promptly informed by Artanis that he's received word from Reyna and Phoenix. They're alive, and they're doing what they can to gain control of the warp gate from the other side, and he urges us to take care of things here.
Executor, we have received a transmission from Reyna and Phoenix. They are still alive and are fighting to retake the warp gate on Ire. We must secure the gate on this side without delay.
And here comes our objective. Take out the Zerg base. This works well, as it gives us a familiar format to follow. Build a base, grow our economy, and cause havoc on the enemy. Whilst we do all of this, the Dark Templar that came to our rescue hang around, which is a really good job too. They can handle the fodder that tries to come for us with little effort. And the game is really good at feeding into the excitement of having them as playable units, because this time round, we can warp them in ourselves. Quick reminder, whilst it's easy to get carried away with making this new warrior cast, remember to bang out some Dragoons too. Mutalisks are a thing here. Also, Overlords can be a pain, what with them being detectors and all, so you're going to need a way to keep your cloaked units safe from prying eyes. It can be easy to get caught off guard by spore colonies, but handle those with Dragoons and the rest is easy. As Zerg forces slowly dwindle, expanding to new resource fields is a good idea. Once we near the Shakuras warp gate, Artanis warns us that he can't see the dynamic duo and that they must still be back on the homeworld.
There is no sign of Phoenix or Reyna. They must still be on Ire.
The final Zerg area is more impressive than the ones we've dealt with so far, so having the firepower to go in and drop them is important. Once we've done the deed, Reyna radios through with information that we didn't quite expect.
Executor, my crew and I will remain here on Ire and shut the gate down on this side. It's the only way to make sure that the Zerg won't send more reinforcements to Shakuras.
Artanis is quick off the mark to confirm that Reyna knows what this means.
You will be hopelessly outnumbered, and once the gate is shut down, there will be no one to save you should you be overrun.
Yeah, well, I'm a man of action. What can I say?
I shall remain with Raider as well, Executor. My duty is to Ire after all.
Farewell then, brave warriors. We will send through all the troops we can spare.
Thanks. You kids just remember to play nice from now on, okay? Wish us luck.
And with that, the twin forces of Raynor and Phoenix remain on Aya. In a brilliant twist to what we've seen of the Protoss as a whole, we're introduced to the matriarch of the Dark Templar, Rashagal. She welcomes us and segues into her official introduction.
I am Rashagal, matriarch of the Dark Templar, and I welcome you and your companions to our world. Zeratul has informed me of the fall of Aya, and I am deeply grieved. I am one of the few Dark Templar old enough to remember our ancestral home with clarity. Yet no matter how tragic the circumstances, it is clear that fortune has reunited our people. We Dark Templar will never forget our banishment from Aya, nor the Conclave's sins against us. But you and your companions are no longer of the Conclave. The example set by your fallen hero, Tassadar, has shown you that when the light and dark sides of our energies are united, our power is undeniable.
Aldaris then says his piece, and this is actually good to see. He comes into the conversation humble, stating that they've been through it with these new creatures, but Rashagal continues with her calm demeanor and explains a brief history of Shakuras.
But Matriarch, the Zerg who have followed us here are unlike any enemy the Protoss have ever known.
You speak the truth, Judicator. And yet, there lies a dormant power here that can help us to scour the Zerg from Shakuras forever. Long ago, we Dark Templar were a nomadic people. But when we found a remarkable monument upon this world, we decided to remain here to study it. We discovered that the enormous structure is actually an ancient Zelnaga temple, dedicated to the race that sired us all. The temple is situated above a nexus of powerful cosmic energies. If we were to access those energies...
Aldaris tries to jump the gun, clearly wanting to take advantage of the hand that's just been revealed. But guess what? Not that simple.
Then we should strike now while the Zerg still muster their forces.
Alas, we cannot. In order to properly channel the energies of the temple, we will need the twin crystals, Urash and Callus, that legends say were separated many ages ago. The Urash is laced with pure Templar energies, while the Callus is comprised of dark Templar energy. Only by using these two crystals in unison can we hope to channel the potent energies of the temple.
Then it is clear that we must retrieve these crystals, wherever they may be.
Agreed. But first, we must deal with the Zerg and their two Cerebrates who have already taken up station around the temple itself. To arms, my children. Scour the temple grounds of this foul infestation.
Can we just take a second to appreciate how she doesn't go into explicit detail about how this mission is going to go? She simply said, to arms, and that's all we needed to hear. As we hit the surface of Shakuras, Zeratul makes a point to gently remind us that a Cerebrate will only truly fall to a Dark Templar.
Remember, young Templar, Cerebrates can be killed only by Dark Templar weapons and energies. My brethren will make short work of any Cerebrate.
This pretty much gives us the go-ahead to do whatever we want up to that point, but they need to be the ones to deliver the killing blow. Quickly following on from this, Zeratul lets us know that spore colonies are in position around the Cerebrates, and with them being detectors, they'll be able to alert the rest of the Zerg hive to our presence.
Executor, our sensors show that the two Cerebrates are surrounded by spore colonies.
But the Dark Templar have the perfect counter for this. Introducing the Corsair, the Nerazim fleet's trump card. These beautiful creations have an ability called Disruption Web that makes everything underneath them cease operation, even detector abilities. We watch as the fleet deploys them and follows up with Dragoons for a gorgeous follow-up tactic of attacking from range so as not to get caught in the web themselves. Handling this unlocks additional resources, which is always welcome, but just a heads up, the Zerg take this personally, so we'll charge in to try and stop us. We're going to need shuttles here too. Getting the Corsairs to disable spore colonies before we drop our forces in to destroy them is exactly the lesson that the mission is trying to teach us. Sometimes, brute force isn't the only answer. As we fight our way through, we see the Zelnaga temple that Rashagal mentioned, and it's way bigger than anything else we've seen so far. Wiping out the remaining Zerg encampment enables our Dark Templar to get up close and personal with the Cerebrate, and you've got to be kidding me.
Well done, mighty Protoss. I'm glad to see that you all are as violent as ever.
Zeratul can't quite grasp what's happening here.
Kerrigan, what mockery is this?
Relax, warriors. Despite what you may think, I haven't come here to fight you.
Aldaris, ever the skeptic, rejects Kerrigan's claims, stating that it's pretty clear the Zerg here are under her control now.
This is laughable. Do you truly expect us to believe that your intentions here are honorable? That these Zerg here are not under your sway?
Kerrigan tries to reason with him, but Zeratul isn't buying it.
Look, the Cerebrates you've killed were my enemies as well. If you let me explain, I'm sure you'll understand that—
You are the enemy of all who live, Kerrigan. What makes you think we would have anything to do with you?
She then responds by dropping the niceties.
Because, Zeratul, I bring news of an event that threatens us all.
She's got information that is clearly a problem to everyone and asks for an audience.
If you'd be so good as to escort me back to your citadel, I'll tell you everything I know.
The matriarch is intrigued by this, but warns Kerrigan, step out of line and it's over.
Very well, Kerrigan. We shall hear what you have to say. But be warned, we will not suffer your treachery here.
The ready room opens above the planet Braxis, with Rashagal inviting Kerrigan to get to the point.
Now then, Kerrigan. Perhaps you had best explain yourself. What is this news you've come to give?
And that's when she drops the bomb.
There is a new overmind growing on Char.
Impossible. Why should we believe anything you have to say?
The ready room as a whole is actually shocked by this, and she goes on to say that since the OG Overmind is gone, she's managed to regain her free will, and she can, to a certain extent, understand that this is a lot to hear.
Because, Zeratul, I'm no longer the mindless murderess whom you fought on Char. The Overmind is dead. Whatever warped control it once had over me is gone. I know that this is a lot to take in all at once, but you've got to believe me.
Aldaris does his thing and calls her out, but the matriarch shuts him down, leading to him actually leaving this conversation.
There's more at stake here.
She lies. She is infested to the core. I, for one, will not listen to any of this.
Silence, Judicator. Continue, Kerrigan.
Apparently, many of the renegade Cerebrates, commanded by Dagoth, have merged into a new Overmind. Fortunately, the creature is still in its infant stages. It can't control the swarm yet, but Dagoth and the others still have control over most of the broods. The two Cerebrates you killed here were part of Dagoth's forces. Look, I don't need to tell you all what might happen if that thing reaches maturity. I can guarantee you that should it awaken, it'll take full control of me, just like it did before. I don't want that to happen, and I'm pretty sure you don't want it to happen either.
Zeratul states that we've got other things on our plate than to attack a new Overmind, addressing our need to find the Uraj and Kalis before anything else.
Even if what you say is true, our priority is to save this world, not assault the new Overmind. We must find the crystals Uraj and Kalis before we are all vanquished.
Kerrigan, in what seems like a genuine offer, offers her services to help speed this search up.
Then I'll help you with your search. If you can defeat the renegade Zerg gathered here, it'll weaken the efforts of Dagoth and his ilk.
Rashagal thinks this over for a moment and then issues her wish.
My children, you must put aside your fears and misgivings to accomplish what must be done.
For the time being, at least, we need to let bygones be bygones and work towards a mutual cause.
For the time being, Kerrigan will assist you in your endeavors. Though she has been your enemy, it is enough that we share the same agenda now. Allow her time enough to prove herself to you, and you may find her to be a valued ally. For now, you must focus on the task at hand. Search for the Urosh on the planet Braxis, and let nothing stop you from recovering it.
Artanis enters the chat in place of Aldaris and confirms that we will do as she commands, but if she thinks that we're just going to forget everything that's happened up to this point, then that's a hard no.
We will do what you ask, Matriarch. But you cannot expect us to forgive Kerrigan's crimes against our race. Executor, prepare our forces. We shall debark for the planet Braxis before the next moonrise.
Well, this is new. Snow. And yes, you're seeing that right. It's not our forces we're looking at. It's Terran. Several shuttles run in and drop Reavers and Dragoons to start clearing the deck for us, and as everything gets underway, Kerrigan asks for clarity on something.
Explain something to me, Zeratul. Why would your people leave such a sacred crystal in the hands of these Terrans?
Zeratul responds by explaining that Braxis wasn't always what you see now.
We didn't. Long ago, this world was a Protoss colony called Kirador. When the strife between our tribes escalated, this planet and the Urash crystal were abandoned. These Terrans had come here only recently.
Now, whilst it can be comfortable to hang about and build things, Kerrigan is in play, and so is her cloak ability. Taking a look around reveals yet another Terran base, and with Kerrigan invisible to the naked eye, it's time to liberate those additional resources. A short time into all of this, Artanis throws a spanner in any plans we had with employing aerial assistance.
Executor, we have a problem. Our warp matrix was damaged during transit. Because of the extensive damage, we will be unable to warp in stargates to this location.
Okay, guess we're taking the scenic route then. The Terrans get brave and decide to try and test us, and although it's easy to dismiss, pay attention here. Goliaths, siege tanks, vultures. We're not just going up against Marines here. They're serious about holding their line. Once again, Dragoons are super useful in handling destruction. The Terran forces make it difficult for us to get cloaked units through unharmed, as they've got missile turrets everywhere, but these just make great target practice for Dragoon squads. Once we're happy with our own forces, we go for it and tear the Terrans to pieces. Finally, we find what we've been looking for, and Kerrigan moves to secure it.
The crystal's here, boys. Send in a probe to gather it up, and our work here is done.
You have done well, Kerrigan. There's more to you than it seems. Perhaps I have misjudged you.
Given our history, I can't say I blame you. Let's just get the job done.
Artanis opens by explaining that a different group of Terran forces has been detected. But what's strange about this one is it's not in any formation that the Protoss have seen up to this point. But nonetheless, they are on the channel, and they've got something to tell us.
Executor, our sensors have just identified a large group of Terran vessels. However, their configuration profile is unlike any Terran group yet encountered. We are receiving a transmission from the fleet's command ship, identifying itself as the Alexander.
Enter the United Earth Directorate, or the UED for short. The transmission that comes through is from a face we've not seen yet. Admiral Alexei Stukov. He gives us what is otherwise an ultimatum and says that he's about to get up close and personal with us.
Protoss Commander, I am Admiral Alexei Stukov of the United Earth Directorate. We are here to take control of the Terran Dominion and all of its outlying colonies. You are in direct violation of Terran space and have openly attacked Terran troops. Lower your shields and power down your weapons systems. The UED will be taking custody of your ships and whatever spoils you have garnered from this planet.
Zeratul is surprisingly cautious about this news, stating that Rayna had mentioned Earth to him previously, but it's the fact that they've made the journey that's worrying.
United Earth Directorate. Raynar spoke of the distant Terran homeworld called Earth. These humans have come a long way to make war on us.
Artanis tries to do the Protoss "we're above everyone" speech, but Zeratul reins him in with a gentle reminder.
Have faith, Zeratul. You almost sound as if you fear these humans. What are they to such as we? Was it not we who defeated the dreaded Overmind?
Yes, Artanis, we did vanquish the Overmind, but we did so with the help of humans. Do not be so quick to underestimate them.
Artanis quickly falls into place, stating that he's going to find a gap in their formation so we can get through and get ready.
Of course. Executor, I shall test the mettle of these humans by scouting ahead of your ships and finding a way through this blockade. In Toro Tassadar!
Jumping onto the orbital platforms above Praxis, we need to be calculated. Artanis sits uniquely as a hero unit, piloting a scout. We've got the bare essentials for a skirmish here, but it's never going to make a dent on the UED, so time to get moving. In an interesting dynamic, observers are readily available here, and from what they can already see, the UED has put missile turrets on the outer reaches of the nearest platforms. The objective of this mission is to destroy the generators that the UED have put in place, so that we can punch through this blockade that they've set out. Going into this, you need to understand something. The UED does not play around. They are going to throw everything at our forces, and I mean everything. Once again, we're going to loophole this first one. It's easy to get caught up in disable the missile turrets, take on the bunkers, blah blah blah. So, friendly reminder, our units have shields that can take a beating before it becomes a problem. So here's what we're going to do. Get the ground units into the shuttles, drop them off, and get the zealots to book it. Running to the far side of the generator itself puts our forces outside the range of a bunker, whilst allowing us to attack the target. Taking it down actually disables the missile turrets, so Artanis and his squadron can move easier now.
With the power generator destroyed, the missile turrets on this platform are no longer operational. However, we will need reinforcements to finish the job.
Reinforcements are en route now, young Templar.
And those reinforcements aren't half-arsed by any means. We get some Dragoons and Dark Templar to join the fight, which is going to come in handy. Without the turrets acting as detectors, our Dark Brethren are free to crack open bunkers and deal with the Terran ground units. Be careful. The Terrans have no issues fielding science vessels, and whilst they are primarily support units, part of that support arsenal is the EMP, which cancels out our shields. Fortunately, Scout's air-to-air weaponry is the perfect answer to put this problem to bed. In what can only be called a sneaky move from the Terran forces, they've placed a siege tank right next to a turret on a small isolated area of the platform. Try to deal with the tank by air, the turret answers. Try to deal with the turret by ground, then siege mode ends the debate. The second generator is a bit trickier than the first, partly due to its placement around turrets and partly due to the presence of wraiths, so we're going to take a bit of a kicking here before we get the job done. Another generator down, another call from Zeratul with more reinforcements.
Reinforcements are en route now, young Templar.
Third generator found, then dealt with, and more reinforcements.
Reinforcements are en route now, young Templar.
I really like this. It really gives that risk and reward factor to this mission. Only third time round, not Zealots or Dark Templar, but Reavers and High Templar. Fourth time's the charm. More air support in the form of additional scouts, but most importantly, Corsairs. And with their disruption web, this is handy to get past certain defenses. An Arbiter makes its appearance, and remembering that it has the awesome recall ability, this will help to change the pace of battle in an instant. Eagle-eyed viewers will notice that the UED has been sneaky and planted spider mines everywhere. Try and remember this the next time you come here. Further into this mission, we find that our scouts run into a nightmare of their own, and it goes by the name of the Valkyrie, a UED addition for air battles that answers aggression in the form of missile salvos. Deal with these as a matter of urgency. The final generator is guarded unlike anything we've seen before. Goliaths, even battle cruisers. It's a good idea to combine hallucinations and recall to get this done quickly, but once the final generator falls, we're ready room bound. Okay, quick reset. We grabbed Uraj, slapped the UED around just enough for them to back off, and are now over Char. Artanis asks Zeratul if he's managed to figure out where the Callus crystal is.
Executor, the Uraj is secured, and the UED has given up the chase. We are currently holding perimeter orbit over the planet Char. Zeratul, have you locked onto the location of the Callus?
Yes. I remember sensing his power the last time I was on this world. However, our sensors indicate a massive, fluctuating energy signature at its location. I am, however, unable to identify the signature's source.
Kerrigan cuts in saying that it's the new Overmind. She figures that it's taken root near the crystal, which will cause problems, but if we're quick enough, we could get through.
That should be obvious, gentlemen. The source is the Overmind itself. When the Cerebrates merged together, they must have locked onto the Callus energies and nested near it. It's probable that there'll be a number of broods protecting that area. It's risky, but if we can strike hard and fast, we might be able to fight our way through their defenses and escape with the crystal.
Artanis comes to the table with a different take. If we aim for the Overmind itself, it could give us the opening we need.
Comrades, I may have an alternative. Seeing as how the Overmind is still in its infant stages, I wonder if we might be able to disrupt its control over those broods. If we can do enough superficial damage to the creature, it might pacify the Zerg nearest to it, allowing us some time to retrieve the Callus.
Zeratul's impressed and praises Artanis for his bravery, stating that Tassadar would be proud.
A bold plan, young Artanis. Your courage rivals that of mighty Tassadar himself.
You give me too much credit, noble Zeratul. I am not worthy enough to even speak his name.
Kerrigan gets bored of the sentimentality real quick and advises that either approach works for us and she'll do what she can to support.
Touching. Look, boys, either of these plans will work, but let's not waste any time. I'll be able to exert limited control over a few of the Zerg here and provide you with some backup. But the longer we stay, the more we risk losing both the crystals again.
Agreed. Executor, deploy your forces. May Adun be with you.
In an exciting development, we've not only got our own forces, but thanks to the Queen, we have access to the Zerg as well. Double the finance building, double the army. Seeing, as we've seen firsthand, just how much chaos an Overmind can cause, we're going to take the route of attacking that rather than go for the crystal directly. Enemy Zerglings kick off the fight by testing us, not a problem as long as we're on the ball. As we progress, Hydralisks follow. Expansion, as always, is important here, and this is going to be one of the most varied armies we've ever sent out. Once again, observers are available, and it's really good to make them earn their place, because without them, we would fall prey to the new Zerg unit, the Lurker. More detail about the Lurker is available in my Brood War Units Explained video, but these things are a nightmare. But it's not just the Lurkers. Zerg are burrowed all over the place here, so getting a heads up definitely helps. It's not the worst idea to have an observer lead squads into new areas. It will help clear the way. The Swarm will do everything it can to stop us, and once we're through, Artanis calls in to say he's got the crystal, but he's not overly sure what happens next.
Executor, the Callus is ours. Let us depart this wretched world and return to Shakuras. Provided there is still a Shakuras to return to.
We're back on Shakuras, and we're greeted by Rashigal, who says she's glad we're back safely, but there have been complications in our absence.
Congratulations, Executor. Your success has brought us the promise of hope against the Zerg. However, we face a new threat within our own ranks. In your absence, Judicator Alderis and an entire legion of Kali survivors from Ire have begun an open revolt against us.
I'm not gonna say it. Zeratul is surprised by this and asks what happened. Rashigal goes on to tell us that apparently old habits die hard, and they aren't fans of being here or working with the Dark Ones.
By the gods, this is ill news indeed. Why would Alderis betray us so?
He and his ilk believe that it was wrong to have abandoned Ire and consorted with our people. Their prejudices have driven them to perpetuate the Conclave's sins against us. Even now, Aldaris and his loyalist Templar forces are preparing to attack our citadel.
Artanis is really concerned with this and asks if she's absolutely sure of what she's saying.
I can scarcely believe this. As if the Zerg were not enough. Matriarch, are you certain of this?
And the answer is yes. But like she said to Kerrigan before, treachery will not be suffered on Shakuras, and with that, she drops the order to get rid of him for good.
All too certain, young Templar. Executor, as Matriarch of the Dark Templar and Custodian of this world, I hereby order you to terminate Judicator Aldaris and quell this untimely uprising without delay. There will be no dissent among us while the Zerg are poised to strike.
Rashigal leaves the ready room, and Zeratul consults Artanis, stating that something's off here.
There's something amiss here. The matriarch has always been a wise and gentle soul. Though there is some merit in her decision, this is very unlike her.
Artanis then drops one of the coldest lines we've seen to date.
That may well be. But right now, we have a friend to kill. May Adun forgive us.
Here we go again, and Artanis opens by giving us some bad news.
Be advised, Executor. Our forces are divided. Aldaris has taken control of our Templar warriors and arbiters. It is possible that he may even send Archons against us.
In any normal circumstance, this would be game over, yet this is far from normal, and Zeratul puts our mind at ease.
Fear not, comrades, for we have Archons of our own. Should the dire need arise, all Dark Templar may merge to become Dark Archons. Though we sacrifice our warriors in doing so, only the might of the Dark Archons can match the forces of Aldaris.
Excuse me while I quickly fanboy over these, they are one of my favourites. 2 of these monstrosities are already available to us, and Aldaris is going to find out real quick that today is not the day. The minimap discloses 3 separate locations where Aldaris could be hiding, but for now it's going to be a process of elimination. Almost as though the game knew we wanted to use our new unit, Aldaris sends an Archon with some zealots to test our defenses. The problem is, with the new addition, his Archon is now our Archon, thanks to their mind control ability. Archons are a recurring theme on this mission, but we don't need to mind control everyone we come across. Throwing numbers at them instead is more than sufficient. Once we're set with what we need, we go all in, wiping out anyone who stands in our way until we land at the area where the first possible location for Aldaris could be, only to find out he's pulled a Tassadar.
You didn't think I'd be caught so easily, did you, Executor? You have only destroyed a phantom.
Off we go to the next location, and once again, we miss the mark.
Yet again, Executor, you destroy only a simulacrum of myself. You believe me to be a traitor, but it is you and the Matriarch who will usher our race to oblivion.
Now that is interesting. Could Zeratul have been onto something with what he said earlier? Third and final location. Finally, we make it to Aldaris, and what happens next is important.
It is finished, Judicator. Surrender your remaining forces and join us in eradicating the Zerg.
Aldaris is not hearing this, instead going back to his old ways and accusing us of being slaves to Kerrigan.
I would sooner die, Dark One, than tarnish the memory of Ire by joining with you. Your fate was sealed the moment your matriarch allied herself with the Queen of Blades. Those of us still loyal to Ire will never be slaves to Kerrigan and her broods.
Artanis, as the new Praetor, tries to mediate, stating that Kerrigan's changed and she's actually been helpful.
Aldaris, be reasonable. Kerrigan has changed. She no longer seeks to enslave anyone. Do not force us to destroy you.
Aldaris fires back and tells him that he can't see the forest for the trees, stating that Rashigal has been corrupted, but before he can finish his claim, Kerrigan herself pulls up and takes him out.
You can no longer afford to be so naive, Artanis. While you were securing the crystals, I discovered that your matriarch has been harboring a dark secret. She has been manipulated by
I have no time for this.
What have you done?
I just cleaned up your mess, Protoss. Don't be so squeamish.
Zeratul can't believe what he's just seen and calls Kerrigan out right before she gets down to business.
Wretched creature. This was our Protoss matter. You had no right to interfere. Be gone from this world. You are no longer welcome among us.
Fine. I've done what I came here to do. I've ensured the destruction of the renegade Cerebrits, and I used you to do it. Have fun, mighty Protoss. We'll be seeing each other again, real soon.
The final mission for the Protoss campaign in Brood War starts as all others have, in the Ready Room. Artanis is the first to fire off, stating that he can't believe they've been pawns in Kerrigan's game.
This entire chain of events has been masterminded by Kerrigan, and we played right into her hands.
Zeratul agrees, but whether we like it or not, by doing the one thing that Kerrigan needed us to do, we actually save ourselves at the same time.
Yes, we did, Artanis. Yet our course is set, nonetheless. Using the Temple's energies against the Renegade Zerg may accomplish Kerrigan's aims, but it is still our only chance of survival.
Rashigal attempts to raise our spirits by telling us this ends now, and the Zerg will fall against the might of our power.
And survive we will, my warriors. For too long have we labored in futile defense, as our enemies push us further and further away from victory. The time has come to let loose the full fury of our powers. Never again shall Shakuris be despoiled by the foul touch of alien species. These Zerg shall be the first to fall before us.
Zeratul cuts in by saying something still isn't right here.
Matriarch, I have served you for many millennia. I have always valued your wisdom and strength. Yet, lately, in your mind, I have sensed something that clouds your true spirit. Though Kerrigan has gone, I wonder if her treachery still remains.
Rashigal responds by saying she's fine, but she admits that everything that's happened since Aya fell has put the weight of the world on her shoulders, yet she is still present and will lead us to victory.
Be at ease, Zeratul. I am still the same Rashigal you have always known. These recent events have weighed heavily upon me, and I am wearied. But fear not. My warrior spirit will shine before you and light your path to victory.
Zeratul gives a one-liner back, clearly not convinced here.
Indeed.
Artanis does his thing and lays out the plan. He'll handle the Uraj, and Zeratul will take care of the Kalis.
The time for action is upon us. The crystals must be taken to the temple while the Zerg still muster their forces. I shall carry the Urash myself, while Zeratul handles the Kalis.
Rashigal closes by telling us, the Executor, that we need to protect them both so that we can fire up the Xel'Naga weapon and rid the Zerg from Shakuris.
Executor, you shall provide escort for Artanis and Zeratul as they make their way to the temple. God's willing, we will channel the energies of the Xel'Naga and scour this world clean of the Zerg. Go now, my children, and know that the survival of our entire race depends upon your actions.
Immediately, the matriarch warns us that when we bring the crystals to where they need to be, the Zerg are going to come at us with everything they have. It's a nice little warning from the game that we need to be ready for a big punch-up.
When you bring the crystals to the temple, the Zerg will surely send all their legions to destroy you. You must be prepared to protect the temple itself from the swarm.
One final fight. 2 separate bases. Top left, Zeratul. Bottom, Artanis. Let's do this. Pulling up on the Zelnaga temple, we already know that we're in for a rough time. So before we get the boys to the beacon, we need to sort our defenses out. When we're happy that we can hold the Zerg off, we get Zeratul and Artanis to the beacon. And that's when it gets lively.
Rush is secured.
The Gallus is secured.
Executor. Zeratul and I will begin to channel the temple's energies. You must prevent the Zerg from destroying the temple while we work. Adun be with you, Executor.
15 minutes. The fate of an entire people, an entire world, is decided in 15 minutes. After holding the line against the never-ending swarm, Zeratul calls out and tells us it's time.
Executor, the channeling is complete. Withdraw our forces into the temple and brace yourself.
What follows is a cinematic worthy of a finale. Once again, nothing I could say would do this justice, so here it is. Welcome to the United Earth Directorate. The Terran campaign for Brood War starts in a way that feels somewhat off. This to me feels like it's because of two things. The first, crossing over from the original game into Brood War, we smashed out two Protoss campaigns back to back, so going all human again feels odd. The second, the last time we started as Terrans, we were the magistrate of a ragtag band of forces that kind of meandered its way through the first few missions, at least until these Sons of Korhal were introduced. But this time round, we're a captain inside the UED fleet, a force that is very much established and far more disciplined, made evident by our encounters with them in our last venture as the Protoss. In any case, this new force has decided to join the party and take control. With the reveal of the new Overmind forming on Char, they've sent in the top dog in the form of Admiral Gerard Dugal to capture the bloody thing. Our job in all of this is to get rid of Arcturus Mengsk, or rather, Emperor Mengsk. We start in orbit above Braxis and our favorite bionic babe, the Adjutant, comes online. She gives us a brief update about where we are and what we're doing, but not before being an absolute sweetheart and checking on us first.
Adjutant online. Good morning, Captain. Our long voyage from Earth is over, and we are holding a stationary position near the borders of Dominion space. I trust that the effects from your long, cold sleep have worn off by now. If not, the Med Officer can provide you with additional cryostim supplements.
She then goes on to explain that a formal announcement has been made by the aforementioned Admiral.
Admiral Dugal has issued a proclamation to the entire fleet via Transmat. I'll patch it through to you now.
Attention, defenders of the United Earth Directorate. This is Admiral de Gaulle. You were all briefed before we left Earth, so you know that we have come here to conquer this sector in the name of humanity. Should any of you have second thoughts about performing your assigned duties, be reminded that if we fail in our mission here, not one of us will be going home. We stand or fall together in this forsaken wasteland. Serve the Directorate. Serve humanity. All other priorities are secondary to victory. De Gaulle out.
Well, that was pretty to the point. We're then hit with another transmission straight after.
Good morning, Captain. I am Vice Admiral Stukov, Tactical Advisor to Admiral Dugal. I see you've already reviewed his proclamation. I'm sure it doesn't cover anything you weren't already familiar with. Once you get to know the Admiral, I'm sure you'll find that he's actually quite personable.
If you say so.
At any rate, Captain, I do have orders for you. As we are about to begin our invasion of the Dominion, we will need access to their primary datanet and weapons diagnostics.
This first mission has an oddly familiar tone to it.
I want you to raid this colony's Confederate outpost and retrieve whatever design or weapons schematics that you can find in their networks.
To this end, you are to assault the outlying planet of Braxis and take control of its capital city of Boralis. You are to deploy your forces within 2 standard hours. The Admiral expects perfect results, Captain. Stukov out.
Well, let's get to it. The snowy landscape of Braxis returns, and in a shake-up to the usual starting suspects of Terran forces, we're actually given some siege tanks to work with, which is worrying. The only time you have tanks is if you need tanks. Almost as soon as we remember that, a Marine makes a very astute observation.
Oh, crap. This landing site doesn't have any gas. Guess we'd better start looking for another geyser.
Starting with a barracks and a factory means only one thing. It's probably a good idea to get some firepower behind us before we start getting nosy in the fog. And here it comes. A detached Marine group from the enemy decides to pop in and say hi. Not something that really registers if you've anticipated it. Any damage to mechanical units can of course be repaired by an SCV, but remember, we don't have any Vespene gas yet, so those repairs are going to have to wait. Be mindful of sending in expensive units straight away. Using the Vulture's inbuilt agility, we can scour the surroundings quickly and locate some additional minerals. But it's Vespene gas we're looking for here. We go looking and find some more of the forces we're aiming for. A barracks, some supply depots, and as we open fire, some additional support is sent in to try and fend us off. For all the good it does. Heading upwards from this point, we have an unexpected find in the form of a different force, and a new character introduction.
Captain, I am Lieutenant Samir Duran of the Confederate Resistance Forces. I've been monitoring your attack against the Dominion, and I'd like to offer you my services and skills in return for amnesty.
Stukov challenges this notion and asks, why?
Intriguing. Lieutenant, you have absolutely no idea as to who we are or what we have come here to do. Why do you wish to side with us?
Duran then gives his answer, and this is the first look at his quirky personality, something that will play a critical part of this campaign moving forward.
Because my men and I have sworn to fight against the Dominion and its Emperor. Seeing as how your forces have been laying into this Dominion base, I figured we were on the same side.
Stukov asks how he intends to be of use, and Duran's answer is nothing short of perfect.
I see. How exactly do you propose to be of service to us, Lieutenant?
Well, I possess intimate knowledge of the surrounding area. I can show you an alternate route that leads to the rear of the main Dominion base.
Very well, Lieutenant. Consider yourself and your men the first colonial conscripts of the United Earth Directorate. Captain, see that the Lieutenant is given our full cooperation. We shall see if he's worth the effort.
Of course. He's a ghost. Gaining access to Duran's small settlement means finally getting hold of that elusive Vespene gas. With this new set of developments, we increase our resource gathering dramatically, and the minimap also highlights the backdoor approach Duran mentioned to us moments ago. Dropships will swing by from time to time to introduce ghosts, but we're more than capable of dealing with that. Now, just because we've progressed further up the map here, don't forget about your starting base. The Dominion will try and test their luck. Comsat is a good idea here because, oh lordy, that could have been bad news. Good job we're not going that way. Once again, the developers were really thinking about things here. The back path that Duran shows us really is a tight chasm, designed to make us feel like we shouldn't be here. Siege mode is worth its weight in gold, helping to handle buildings and forces from a distance. And as we get closer to our goal, the Dominion appears to have received the message and do what they can to hold us off, with a mix of bunkers, vultures, and the occasional Goliath. But like I said at the beginning, the only reason you have tanks is if you need tanks. With a mixed force of ground pounders and heavy artillery, we pull up on the enemy and do our thing. And once the enemy command center falls, Duran radios through to Stukov, who actually seems pleased with his performance.
Mission successful, Admiral.
Excellent, Lieutenant. This planet's primary defenses are now crippled. Our tag teams can now begin to decode the Dominion security data link.
Back in the ready room, and it's a full house. Stukov, Duran, and Dugal are all present, and the Admiral opens by congratulating us.
Captain, Vice Admiral Stukov has informed me of your flawless sortie upon Braxis. I must commend you for beginning our campaign with such a decisive victory. Our TAC teams have decrypted the Dominion's data link and have gained access to Ming's most guarded files. However, our work is not yet complete. We have ascertained the location of the Dilarian shipyards.
You guys heard shipyards too, right?
These shipyards, serving as a fueling and repair station for the Dominion, house a number of functional battle cruisers in dry dock. To assure that our domination of this sector remains uncontested, you are to assault the shipyards and liberate as many of these capital ships as possible.
Did he just give us the green light to go and hotwire battle cruisers? Awesome. Duran, however, being more familiar with the way things work in this sector, gives us a gentle warning.
Gentlemen, I recommend that you launch this attack using the utmost caution. Dominion Command can typically reinforce its outlying bases within 16 standard hours. You should expect some sort of reprisal from Emperor Mengs shortly.
Yet the only thing he actually succeeds in doing here is attracting the gaze of Dugal, who swiftly makes his impression of him absolutely clear.
Ah, the turncoat. I suggest that you pay keen attention to rank when you address the captain and myself, Lieutenant Duran. Is that understood?
Of course, Admiral.
Stukov finds the Admiral's approach to Duran slightly comedic. given the help he's given so far.
You're beginning to show your age, Gerard. Give the boy some credit. He just tipped us off to a preeminent attack.
However useful he may prove to be, Alexei, he will always be a traitor in my eyes. And you know that I cannot abide a traitor.
Stukov then tells us we can get going as soon as we're ready. And ready we'll need to be.
Only too well, Gerard. Captain, when you are ready, you may commence with the operation. Once you have commandeered the enemy's battle cruisers, be prepared to repel the Dominion reinforcements when they arrive.
Orbital platform time. Several dropships move us across as Stukov gives us the lowdown on this mission.
Once your forces have landed, Captain, you'll need to escort our pilots to the battle cruisers themselves. They will be able to commandeer the ships and turn them over to our control.
As our troops hit the deck, we're introduced to a fan favorite of Brood War, the medic.
Listen up. Each squad will have a medic assigned to it to patch up the wounded, but that doesn't mean you can get careless. Stay frosty and get the job done.
Moving towards the first bunker, it becomes rapidly apparent that the medic is going to play a crucial part going forward, automatically patching up our forces and keeping them in the fight. Points to note, the medic mentioned that each squad would have a medic assigned to them, but in all honesty, you can just group them in with the Marines and go do some heavy lifting. The first battlecruiser is actually pretty close to the starting point, which is useful in more ways than one. It not only gives us a quick reward for moving successfully, but it establishes early on what is expected. Clearing this first area means a grand total of 3 battlecruisers are now ours. Once commissioned, dropships bring us some reinforcements, more pilots, more medics, and this time, ghosts. This is where we get a good look at one of the medic's additional abilities, the optical flare.
Sir, permission to blind that tank with an optical flare.
I give an explanation in my Brood War Units video on how this optical flare works in a more technical way, but it basically reduces the enemy visibility down to the point where they become useless. And because we're given ghosts, we can use lockdown to help smooth our journey. More battlecruisers hijacked, more reinforcements sent. Only this time, we're given something you love to see.
We've got 4 nukes on standby, awaiting your orders.
No resource gathering on this level, so the nukes are already built for us. Quick word of warning, having ghosts here is great, but the enemy having science vessels, not so much. But optical flare not only blinds units, it removes detection abilities from units too. You know something? It just makes sense. A few more battlecruisers hijacked. These nukes really do come in handy. More reinforcements this time with the inclusion of siege tanks, but enemy ghost units are ready for them, hitting them with lockdown almost the second they appear. And this is a brilliant way for the game to introduce the final piece of the medic's arsenal, Restore.
Shake this lockdown, Rocco! Medic, restore us!
Need medical attention?
This move can remove the effects of lockdown, but also remove other ailments such as optical flare sent from enemy medics or ensnare from Zerg queens. Finally, we gather all our battlecruisers and the adjutant cuts in with a warning for us, one that Dougal is more than happy to meet head-on.
We are tracking a large fleet of Dominion ships in your vicinity.
This must be the reinforcements that Lieutenant Duran warned us about. Captain, prepare our newly acquired fleet to battle the intruders.
We're given the best part of 60 seconds to get our house in order before we get a call from someone we've not seen in a while.
Well now, I don't know which militia y'all are from, but I advise you to back down, now. I'm General Edmund Duke of the Dominion Armada, and in the name of Emperor Mengsk, I order you to surrender your forces immediately and unconditionally.
Stukov replies in a way that makes it known. The UED does not consider the Dominion to be the threat they claim to be.
Ah, General Duke. I expected your forces to arrive sooner. You should know that we represent not one of your ragtag peasant militias, but the combined might of the United Earth Directorate.
Earth Directorate?
You mean to tell me you've come all the way out here from Earth?
Never thought I'd see the day when Duke was lost for words.
That is correct, General. We're here to take control over this sector and its occupants for the betterment of mankind.
And yet, the General isn't taking this lying down.
Over my dead body. I don't care where you're from, son. No one pushes around the Terran Dominion on my watch. All units, fire at will.
The Dominion then fronts a respectable force of battlecruisers, but this is one of those occasions where quantity beats everything, and we make short work of them. The adjutant gets straight to it.
Captain, the Dominion shipyards have been destroyed, and it seems that General Duke has withdrawn his forces from this quadrant. We have impressed most of the remaining Dilerian defense forces into the fleet, and stand ready to move to the next phase of our invasion.
Stukov follows up by letting us know that the research team has found something that could be of some importance.
We've just received word from our research team that they've uncovered some kind of hidden weapons relay upon the planet Tarsonis. They report that it's called a psi disruptor and that its purpose is somehow connected with the Zerg.
No, it's not your memory failing you. If you're getting a bit confused here, it is deliberate.
What we stole was a small but critical piece of the puzzle. Designs for a transplanar psionic waveform emitter.
There is in fact a difference between the psi emitter that we've had experience with and this newly found psi disruptor, and Duran takes it upon himself to explain the difference and why it's a problem.
Admiral, during the Zerg invasion of these colonies, the Confederacy had manufactured a number of portable machines called psi emitters, which had the uncanny ability to lure Zerg to their signals. It was rumored that they had created a specialized emitter that could disrupt the Zerg's communications, but Emperor Mengsk was never able to find it. It appears that this psi disruptor is the machine he was looking for. I must humbly suggest to you, Admiral, that the disruptor be destroyed as quickly as possible. If it should fall into the hands of the Dominion, we could face some very serious problems.
Dugal agrees, but Stukov, however, isn't so sure.
A prudent call, Lieutenant. I am inclined to agree.
But Admiral, this device could ensure our victory over the Zerg. It is foolhardy to discard such an advantage.
Duran responds by gaslighting Stukov, saying that the Zerg shouldn't be a problem for a force as powerful as the UED, and Stukov gets agitated.
Surely, Vice Admiral, you don't doubt the tenacity of your own fleet. Your Directorate forces will devastate the Zerg without the need for such a device.
Listen here, Lieutenant. I've had just about enough of you.
Dugal cuts him off by bringing to everyone's attention that if it's not in working order, then Mengsk can't get in the way of their true mission.
This conversation is over, Alexei. Given the true nature of our mission to enslave the Overmind, we could hardly stand to have Mengsk control a device of this magnitude. The psi disruptor must be destroyed in order to safeguard our mission. Ensign, set your course for Tarsonis.
Back on Tarsonis. With the small base ready for us to use as a launch pad here, we get to work and what the hell?
Captain, our sensors are tracking Zerg signals in every direction. It appears that our intelligence was correct.
Duran chimes in and gives a suggestion of attacking the hives head-on.
Admiral, if we focus on destroying all of the hives in this area, we may be able to neutralize these Zerg without too much trouble.
With zero warning and no consideration for the timeline in place for us to build our base up, a Mutalisk decides to make itself known. Surprising, but with our group of Marines, we have it handled quickly. Zerglings then pull up on the top entrance to the base, which could cause problems, but fortunately, we've already got a manned bunker there. Okay, so far in this mission, we've been made aware of 4 Zerg hives being jumped by a Mutalisk and pressured by Zerglings. We're really going to have to pay attention here. Medics are on the ground straight from the off, and this lets us breathe, just until we're on more stable footing. As I've said in past videos, it's not a terrible idea to get some defenses up. You never know when you're going to need them. Also, there is a second set of resources relatively close to our base. Handy to get those early. Comsat earns its keep in this mission, but that won't really come into play until a bit later. With the nearest hive cluster being to the immediate right-hand side of our own base, we'll start here and put Duran's theory to the test. Siege tanks are the perfect example of what getting the job done looks like. By keeping their distance and locking in with siege mode, they make quick work of the hive, and Duran calls in to confirm his suspicions.
Just as I thought. This brood can't operate without its primary hive cluster.
With no way of fighting us back, the Zerg fall by our hand, opening up their resources for our pleasure. 1 hive down, 3 to go. Moving over to the next cluster, our tanks sit at the bottom of the cliffs, but they're pretty much stuck with nothing to do. And this is where Comsat comes in. Revealing everything at the top of those cliffs means siege mode has something to aim at. Yes, it really is that simple. 2 down, 2 to go. Don't fall into the trap of thinking you've got to build new command centers and bases everywhere you go. Terran buildings fly, remember? The 3rd hive cluster comes at us with renewed vigor. Defilers are in play here, and they can't help but get in the way. Ultralisks are also a thing here, so be careful pushing ahead without looking. Getting some Goliaths to the front line is helpful. More resilient than Marines and able to throw missiles at Mutilisks, they come in handy when handling mixed Zerg forces. 1 hive remaining. By the time we roll into the final cluster, our forces are so plentiful that it almost feels unfair. When the final hive falls, we're clear to get Duran over to the beacon to do his thing, but things don't quite go according to what we understood the plan to be.
Captain, we've located the psi disruptor. Shall we plant the explosives on it?
Lieutenant Duran, we're here to relieve you. We've come with orders from Admiral Stukov himself to facilitate the disruptor's disassembly.
Very well. Take it away. Captain, I'll be returning to the command ship presently.
The Admiral opens and tells us that he's impressed with us, before getting down to business.
Captain, once again, your leadership has set a fine example to the rest of my officers. Vice Admiral Stukov has informed me that the psi disruptor has been accounted for, so we can now proceed with the next phase of our operation. The time has come to begin our primary invasion of the Dominion throne world of Korhal. Alexei, fill the captain in on the current situation.
Stukov then takes the lead as he gives us a very brief history of Korhal and what happened there. Something that is explained in more detail in my Lore Before videos if you're interested.
As you may know from your research, Captain, Korhal was a hotbed of anti-Confederate sentiment for years. The Confederacy hoped to contain Korhal's civil unrest by decimating it and its population with a massive nuclear barrage. Though the radiation levels on the planet are at an all-time low, its surface is now nothing more than a smoldering desert.
Good to know. Dusty and deadly. Duran then comes into the fold by warning us that with nothing left worth ruining, Mengsk won't think twice about repeating history.
The catch, Admiral, is that because this world has already been devastated by nuclear fire, Mengsk has no compunction against using nukes on us. We have detected a large cluster of missile silos on the outskirts of Augustgrad. If those silos were destroyed, we believe that Mengsk would lose his core nuclear capabilities.
Okay, so we go and take care of some nukes. Easy enough.
We also face a different obstacle, Captain. Intelligence has informed us that Mengsk employs multiple battle cruisers for his planetary defense. It is possible to nullify these battle cruisers by taking out strategic physics labs. Without these labs, Mengsk will be unable to power up his ship's weapons systems.
Right, so battle cruisers are an option here too then.
Though we know how to compensate for Mengsk's defenses, we don't have enough time to follow through on them both. Therefore, Captain, you must choose to either counter his nuclear capabilities or his battlecruisers. Once you've taken care of this operation, we can begin to plan our final assault against Augustgrad.
My personal preference here is going for the nukes. Thinking ahead, I can stop a battlecruiser with a ghost. I can't catch a nuke. The nukes themselves are relatively easy to find, but it's the defending forces that become a problem. Numbers win here, and Stukov commends the victory.
Well done, Captain. We won't need to worry about nukes when we siege Manx Pass.
Long-time fans of this game will be aware of what comes next, and I've no doubt that they're watching to see how I handle this next part, and more importantly, that I actually address it. Brood War gives us something here that Starcraft never did: a branching narrative. Depending on which way you went with the assault on Korhal, the game will branch off in a narrative direction with that outcome in mind. Remembering that we ourselves went after the nukes on that one, the story here will focus on that aspect. Look, don't worry, I'll make this make sense in a moment. Dugal opens up by telling us that the finishing touches are being made for the assault on Augustgrad, but warns us that Mengsk shouldn't be underestimated.
Captain, Admiral Dugal has ordered a final tactical meeting before the siege of Augustgrad commences. I'll patch you through to his war room.
Ah, Captain, we've been expecting you. As you may have guessed, we are coordinating our final attack plans. You should know that even though Mengsk cannot reinforce his numbers, his standing forces are substantial. Mengsk is an accomplished tactician, so you had best be wary of any counterattacks he may attempt.
This is where the branching narrative kicks in. For clarity's sake, I'll show you both diversions. First up, what's said when we took out the nukes.
Captain, remember that although we disabled Mengsk's nuclear capabilities, he still commands a large number of battle cruisers. We suspect that he will use these ships against us at every turn. Be on your guard, Captain. Show this Emperor what the UED thinks of his rule.
Here's what happens if you went after the battle cruisers instead.
Also, despite the fact that we have crippled his fleet of battle cruisers, we suspect that Mengsk will unload his nuclear silos whenever the opportunity presents itself. Keep security tight at all of your bases, and watch out for enemy ghosts.
That should cover it, Captain. Be careful, and good luck. By the day's end, the Terran Dominion will be nothing more than a bad memory.
Right, perfect. We're all on the same page now. So, with that in mind, let's continue with the fact that we dealt with the nukes. On the ground of Korhal, suddenly, we hear battlecruisers asking who we are.
Identify yourself.
Shortly before they make it known, they are about to arrive, and arrive they do, from multiple directions. But, just as we anticipated, lockdown is the saving grace here. Without that, the losses would be astronomical. Surviving the Dominion's initial onslaught buys us time to gather resources, fix up mechanical units, and brace ourselves for the next attack. This mission is an involved one. There's lots to do and no real shortcut for it, so make your favorites and do your thing. After what feels like an actual eternity of fighting through the scorched wasteland of Korhal, we arrive at the doorstep of the Dominion and nothing stops us. The adjutant pops in to tell us that NORAD 3 is on the line. What you're about to witness is a masterclass in storytelling. I'm not going to drag this out though. Watch this.
Captain, I'm tracking the Dominion flagship NORAD 3 in low orbit. Emperor Mengsk may be attempting an escape. Receiving incoming transmission.
This is Emperor Mengsk of the Terran Dominion. I wish to parley with your executive officer at once.
So, the elusive Arcturus Mengsk at last. I was hoping to speak with you before we finished our business here. I am Admiral Gerard Dugal, and I must commend you, sir, for holding back our advance for as long as you have. You are indeed a worthy opponent.
My thanks to you, sir. But you must know that your victory here means little to me. It might have taken me a while, but I did overthrow the Confederacy. I'll overthrow your rule as well.
That seems unlikely, sir. Seeing as how you'll be publicly executed along with the rest of your ranking officers.
You wouldn't dare.
The man who crowns himself emperor speaks to me of daring. You have far outlived your reputation, citizen Mengsk. Captain, prepare to take the emperor into custody.
You'll have to postpone those plans, gentlemen.
Sir, The Rebel command ship Hyperion has just entered our sensor range. It is accompanied by a small Protoss fleet.
What? Who are these intruders?
Jim Raynor? What the hell are you doing here?
I'm pulling your ass out of the fire arc, Turris, so shut up and sit tight. Make no mistake about it, we've got us a serious score to settle. But right now, a mutual acquaintance of ours wants you alive. Prepare your ships for dimensional recall.
This is intolerable. They're escaping right out from under us. Track them! Track them!
The adjutant advises us that she's found them. They're on the Protoss homeworld. They're on Aya.
Captain, we have tracked the fugitives Minsk and Raynor to the devastated Protoss homeworld of Ire. Apparently, these two have taken shelter within a fortified Protoss encampment that lies at the base of a fully functional warp gate.
The Admiral is visibly confused by this.
I don't understand this. Why would the Protoss harbor these men?
Stukov follows up, not by giving an answer, but a warning.
I have no idea, Gerard, but the Protoss aren't our only problem. Our sensors have identified multiple Zerg broods surrounding the Protoss base. Presently, the broods seem to be passive, but there's no telling what might set them off. Should the broods attack, we'd be hard-pressed to hold them at bay.
Degale understands what he's being told and gives us the order to take out the command center with Duran on standby to support if needed.
I see. It is a risk we'll need to take. Minsk represents a considerable threat to our agenda and must be eliminated. Captain, you will focus your attack against the Rebel command center in the middle of the Protoss encampment. That must be where Minsk and Raynor are hiding. We will deploy our own Valkyrie frigates and tighten up our air defenses. Vice Admiral Stukov and Lieutenant Duran will provide cover for your forces and ensure that no external threats interfere with your mission.
The pace at the beginning of this mission is incredible. Valkyries pull up to handle the Mutilisks. Dropships deploy tanks and marines to handle the structures. Our buildings are flying into the fray ready to get the ball rolling. Even science vessels pull up ready to assist. Now, this entire intro really gives the impression that we're about to have the fight of our lives. But remember this? We can do the same thing here, but only if you know where you're going. Dropping our forces behind enemy lines gives us a clear line of sight to Raynor's command center, and we deliver on our orders. Once it's done, Stukov radios across to tell us to get ready for this sneaky pair to bolt, but something's wrong. Something is very wrong.
The command center is destroyed, but it looks like Minsk and Raynor will try to escape through the warp gate. Make ready to move in and intercept their vessel before... Wait, I've just picked up multiple Zerg signals coming in from the northeast. That's Duran's position, but he seems to have moved his forces out of place. Lieutenant Duran, this is Stukov. Come in. I'm tracking a massive Zerg swarm in your quadrant. Respond, damn it!
That is strange, Vice Admiral. My scanners don't show any Zerg at all. Maybe you have a technical problem with your equipment.
Lieutenant, if these Zerg get through, we'll never be able to capture Minsk. I'm giving you a direct order to return to your position and reinforce my troops.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir, but it seems your signal's fading out. I couldn't make out that last part. I'll try to re-establish contact later.
Duran! Captain, your position will be overrun by superior Zerg numbers within 15 minutes. I suggest you retreat back to the fleet immediately. Inform Admiral Dugal that I have a personal matter to take care of.
What happens next is chaos.
Your forces are under attack.
We're back over Braxis, and Duran seems to have gotten around his communication issues and is present alongside the Admiral as the Adjutant delivers a worrying update.
Admiral, the fugitives Minsk and Raynor escaped through the warp gate due to the intervention of the Zerg. But shortly before our forces were overrun, Vice Admiral Stukov took control of a large contingent of troops and came here to the planet Braxis.
Dugall can't work it out.
Why would he abandon the battle on Ire? Why has he come back to Braxis?
Duran makes the comment that maybe Stukov wasn't the man he thought he was, much to the Admiral's dismissiveness. But then the adjutant cuts in, delivering a piece of the puzzle.
I mean no offense, Admiral, but perhaps Stukov's loyalties are not as strong as you once believed.
Because you are young and foolish, Lieutenant, I will pardon that insult. Alexei and I have been friends since long before you were born. However, he must be found. If Stukov is here, he will account for his actions.
Admiral, our sensors have detected a fully functional psi disruptor on the planet's surface directly below our position. It would appear that the Vice Admiral did not destroy the psi disruptor on Tarsonis as was ordered.
What? Impossible!
Duran then jumps at this opportunity to do a bit of gaslighting.
I warned you, Admiral. Stukov has betrayed you. He's reconstructed the psi disruptor in order to sabotage your mission in this sector.
I can't believe it. Yet the evidence is incontrovertible. Alexei, what have you done? Perhaps you've been right all along, Lieutenant. On my authority, enter the psi disruptor and deal with the Vice Admiral appropriately.
Of course, Admiral.
As we land inside the disruptor, the Marine tells us to hang back whilst they handle the security.
Lieutenant, hang tight for a sec while we clear the entrance. They've locked the door. Set the bomb.
Unauthorized entry detected.
Yes, Captain.
We're in. This room's clear.
Once that's dealt with, Duran and medics hit the deck, and there's a nice little moment with the Marine before we start combing the corridors.
Medic!
We find a pad and, well, it doesn't go to plan.
How do you work this damn thing? Computer, locate Admiral Stukov.
Access code denied.
Further along, we find some civilians.
Got it.
What's up?
Where's Stukov?
Don't tell those traitors anything, Harry.
Wax 'em, boys.
Help!
I'll take care of it.
Thank God for the medics here.
You got it.
Another pad and another demonstration of how Marines aren't designed to do anything else except fight, but it's not a total loss.
Oh, another computer. Says hit any key. Well, which one's the any key?
Security cameras activated. Goliath repair bay located in Sector 4.
If we can get over there, we might be able to hijack those Goliaths.
Firebats make a brief appearance, then explode just as quick. Third pad and third comical encounter.
Access code denied.
Hey, who's messing with the computers? Oh,
Give me the damn access codes before I blow an aggression inhibitor.
I ain't telling you nothing. I'll tell you, it's, Farnham.
Access code accepted.
Thanks. Oops.
Security cameras activated. Vice Admiral Stukov detected in Sector 8.
So, Stukov is in Sector 8. Hopping into the Goliaths, we increase our already bursting confidence continuing through this mission. The developers really outdid themselves here by delving into the psyche of a Marine and asking, what would they actually be saying in here? Be wary though, Marines becoming Goliaths means that medics no longer apply here. We do get something special though, an SCV.
Hey you! Get over here with that SCV and repair our Goliaths.
Don't shoot! I'll do it!
If you've been paying attention, you'll know that these missions don't have resources, so you'd think that having an SCV would be pointless, but the game actually gives us a little bit just to help us get by. Once we get to Stukov, Duran lets him know what's about to happen.
Vice Admiral Stukov, I am here under orders to terminate your command.
Stukov doesn't try to argue it. He knows why he's here.
Lieutenant Duran, I'm not surprised. We both know exactly what it is that you're here to terminate. Get on with it.
Say goodnight, Stukov.
To hell with you.
As the gunshot is heard, Duran suddenly vanishes, reminding us that ghosts are only ever seen when they want to be. Dugal radios across for an update, and Stukov lays it down.
Lieutenant Duran, report your situation immediately.
Gerard, old friend, you do indeed have a traitor in your midst. But it's not me. Duran. He has been playing us both from the start. He convinced you to destroy the Psi Disruptor, even though it was our best chance at defeating the Zerg. And then on Ire, he allowed the Zerg to overrun us even as we had the fugitives in our grasp. I came here to activate the one hope we have of defeating them. And you killed me for it. Duran is your enemy, Gerard. I suspect that he may even be infested as well. Use the disruptor, Gerard. Finish our operation. Let my death have at least some meaning.
Alexei! Oh, what have I done? What have I done? Computer, where the hell is Lieutenant Duran?
The lieutenant no longer registers on my sensors, Admiral. He appears to have vanished.
No.
Everything that we've noticed throughout this campaign has finally funneled through to this moment. From Stukov sending ghosts to intercept the destruction of the Disruptor, to Duran going AWOL from his post on the last mission, not to mention his ambivalent attitude to the UED. He was never on our side, and Dugal understands this too late. And just when you thought things couldn't get any worse, this happens.
Self-destruct sequence initiated. Sir, the Disruptor's power core has just been set to overload. In order to prevent meltdown, you will need to reach the manual override terminal and shut the reactor core down.
It must have been Duran. You men serve the Vice Admiral loyally. I ask that you continue to serve his memory by keeping this disruptor in one piece. Now get going and find that override terminal.
What is it with this game in 15 minutes exactly? We grab our forces and make for the override switch. Hitting the newly found pad activates the cameras, which allows us to see the switch in Sector 12. And just when you thought we could coast to the objective and end this quickly, nope. The adjutant brings some unwelcomed news.
Outer installation walls have been breached, tracking multiple Zerg signals throughout the Psi Disruptor's interior.
One of the Marines notes what's happening, and Dugal confirms that this means Duran was the enemy all along.
This proves that Duran's working with the Zerg. Captain, don't let a single Zerg stand in your way. We need this disruptor now more than ever.
Another security camera found, and another comment from the Marines.
Security cameras activated.
Oh, man. How the hell are we gonna get by all them Zerglings?
Moving further in, we find a couple of Ultralisks tucked away, with the Marine noting,
Confirm. Check that out. They're trapped.
Problem is, the ones behind the door aren't. The next room gives us a real sense of urgency here.
It looks like this corridor has been lined with defensive autoguns. If we can lure the Zerg in here, they'll be cut to shreds.
We've never really been able to use the environment to our advantage before, and this is a pretty cool way to do it. Just try not to get your medic stuck on a turret like I somehow did.
I love the smell of toasted Zerglings in the morning.
I'm starting to think the devs had a right laugh making this mission. Infested Terrans appear out of nowhere, The scary part about this is you hear them before you see them.
Live for the Swarm!
I personally sacrifice one unit to serve the greater good here. We find more allies throwing down against the infestation, and this will also help to replenish any numbers we've lost so far.
Oh, man. Poor Johnny.
Once we finally get to the override, Dougal radios across to offer us a job well done, but says that Char is next on the hit list.
Reactor core shutdown sequence initiated.
Good work, Captain. I want the Psi Disruptor kept on full power around the clock. I leave a garrison here to protect it as well. Prepare the fleet to move out. We are going to the planet Char to claim that cursed overmind. And may heaven help Duran for what he has done this day.
The final ready room for the Terran campaign in Brood War does not pull its punches. The adjutant starts by telling us that even though the Psi Disruptor is doing its job, we've still got to put in the hard yards if we're going to get near that overmind.
Captain, with the Psi Disruptor's signal hampering the Zerg's communications to one another, the swarms over Char have scattered in disarray, allowing the fleet to penetrate to the planet's surface. However, there is still a considerable number of defenders nestled around the fledgling overmind.
The Admiral follows up by acknowledging Stukov's actions, noting that if it wasn't for him, we'd be toast by now.
Alexei was right. The Disruptor is the key to victory here. If I had destroyed the machine as Duran suggested, we would never have made it this far. Nevertheless, the time is upon us, Captain, to do what we came here for. We will claim the Overmind in the name of humanity.
We're then given a warning that there are Cerebrates in play here, but the UED's information of what they're capable of is still lacking.
Be advised, Captain. Our sensors have identified 3 Cerebrates who constitute the core of the Overmind's defenses. Each Cerebrate's distinct capabilities are still unknown, so proceed with extreme caution.
He also goes so far as to warn us about a potential threat from Duran, but ultimately wishes us good luck for what happens next.
Launch your forces, and let not a Zerg survive. Once you have reached the Overmind and crushed its defenders, you are to send in specially trained medics who will pacify the creature with potent neurostim drugs. Only then will our victory be assured. And Captain, remember that Duran is still out there somewhere. I'd venture a guess that his treachery has only just begun. Be careful, and good luck. I am sure that this will be our finest hour.
The final mission. And just as we've come to expect, it's lively straight away.
These sunken colonies aren't being affected by anything we hit them with. I'll bet there's one of those Cerebrate critters pumping them full of energy nearby.
Once we've sorted ourselves out, it's time to hit the Cerebrates. We know from our time as the Protoss that we'll never be able to fully kill them, but that's not the point here. We just need to buy ourselves some time. Don't be mistaken, I've made this sound easier than it is. Mutilisks come to test the boundaries. Comsat reveals infested command centers, so infested Terrans are on the table now, meaning tightly gripped Marines is a bad idea. And here's something new. As an added level of inconvenience, a Marine gives us a heads up about this Ultralisk we've just gone toe-to-toe with.
Sir, we've just had a whole cargo ship full of whoop-ass dumped on us.
Upgrade complete.
We ran into a new strain of Ultralisk, and it took a lot of pepper to bring it down. To top it all off, our recon squad reports that the critter's been reincarnated by a nearby Cerebrate, and it's on its way back for more.
Turns out, this thing is a hero unit called Tarask, and it is a bullet sponge. We better get a move on, and as we do, we actually hear the damn thing get resurrected. Lo and behold, it comes back for more. And yes, this will continue to happen, at least until you handle this first Cerebrate. After making squads of everything we can, we fight our way through. Once again, notice the different color broods coming for us, a lovely nod to the consistency of the story. Once the Cerebrate is taken care of, the Marine comes back on the radio with an update.
Sir, we've this, Cerebrit. We shouldn't run up against any smacked up Ultralisks anytime soon.
By the way, to 86 something means to get rid of or cancel something. With the Cerebrit gone, the rest of that hive cluster goes dormant, just like we witnessed earlier on in the campaign, giving us free reign to clear the deck. Moving into the next hive, we rinse and repeat. Battle cruisers are very effective in this mission, but pay attention to Scourge clusters. Once we get close enough to the Overmind, a ghost calls in to give us the green light.
We've reached the perimeter of the Overmind's nesting area. We can launch the mid-team at any time, sir.
With the sunken colonies handled and the remaining Zerg forces calmed down, the medics are free to head straight to the beacons, and once they're in place, the ghost gives us the update.
Captain, the medics are in place and are administering the neurostim treatments to the Overmind.
But this isn't where the story ends. Not by a long shot. The camera peels off to a squadron of Mutilisks accompanied by some Scourge and an Overlord. And who should come out from the living transport? Duran. And he's got something to show us. And if you listen really closely, you can hear the faint echoes of infestation in his voice. Something that's actually been present in the last few missions.
Excuse me, Admiral, but I'd like to introduce someone to you.
Duran, you son of a bitch. What's the meaning of this?
And that's when she makes herself known. The Queen of Blades formally introduces herself to the UED, and the Admiral is lost for words, if only for a moment.
Admiral de Gaulle, I've heard a lot about you.
What the hell are you?
I am Kerrigan. The Zerg you've killed here, and the Overmind which you've come to collect, are mine. As is our mutual friend, Lieutenant Duran. You see, Admiral, there are a number of groups in this sector who feel that your involvement here causes certain complications. My associates and I intend to make sure that your reign is short-lived.
De Gaulle responds with confidence, citing that he's in possession of a trump card, but Kerrigan brushes it off right before taunting him.
You may find that difficult, you abomination, seeing as how I possess the means to disrupt your control of the Zerg.
Ah, you're referring to your vaunted Psi Disruptor. It won't last you forever, Admiral. Sooner or later, I'll destroy it. Then I'll show you what the Zerg are really capable of. Oh, and by the way, Admiral, your friend Stukov was twice the man you are. I'm glad you saved me the trouble of having to kill him.
The Terran campaign for Brood War ends in a similar fashion to the original, with the celebration steeped in propaganda. But this one feels very well put together. If I say, would you like to know more? Then that should wake an entire fandom up. And yes, Starship Troopers did in fact come out before Brood War. I checked.
Zerg! The very mention of this terrifying race once brought fear to all who heard it. But now we can all rest easy, as our own forces now occupy their very homeworld of Char. Months have passed since our initial confrontation with the Zerg, and now Directorate forces have taken control of the planet Char, long since rumored to cradle the malevolent Overmind of the Zerg. The Overmind itself, an enormous living brain-like entity, dictates control of all the myriad Zerg forces, and it was believed to be planning an invasion of the Earth itself. Once on the offensive, our highly trained Directorate forces were more than a match for the beast-like Zerg. Even their fiercest warrior breed could not defeat the greatest military technology in the galaxy. The Zerg forces on Char were completely decimated and their losses were tallied in the millions. But all wars have casualties, and while Directorate losses were minimal, the fleet's Vice Admiral Stukov gave his life during the final valiant assault on Char. memorial services were held aboard the Directorate flagship Alexander. Vice Admiral Stukov truly knew the meaning of sacrifice. Yet his sacrifice was not in vain. The Overmind itself was the prize of the battle. Even now, Directorate psychics and powerful drugs are keeping the creature pacified. The Overmind will undergo extensive research to ensure the continued safety of the United Earth Directorate and of all mankind.
Here we are. The final campaign of Brood War. Fitting that it should end with the Zerg, especially given the expansion's namesake. Following on from the UED's campaign of capturing the Overmind, we see Zerg being controlled and ushered into dropships. It's a bit unnerving seeing them in uniformed lines, but this just goes to show how effective the Psi Disruptor really is. In what is undoubtedly the hardest still image to date, we see Kerrigan, Reyna, and Artanis powering through the ashes of war. We're back on Tarsonis, and Kerrigan greets us once more as the Cerebrate.
Greetings, Cerebrate. By now you've realized that I've severed your connection with the Overmind and your renegade brethren. Understand, it's nothing personal. I just can't risk you falling under their influence. You're mine now. Serve me unquestioningly, and I'll let you live.
From this point on, it's all manner of madness. Duran joins the chat, and the infestation in his voice is no longer being disguised as he announces they have company.
My queen, pardon me for interrupting, but the visitors you have been expecting have arrived.
Finally. They certainly took their time.
The dynamic duo return, and Jimmy comes at Kerrigan like a jilted ex-boyfriend.
Yeah, well, none of us were in any real hurry to get here, Sarah.
Still suspicious of my motives, Jimmy?
Always.
When I contacted you both on Ire, I told you about the new Overmind and about the UED that seeks to control it. Well, the UED has done it. They've tamed the Overmind and now control most of the Zerg broods in this sector. That's why I've asked for your help.
Phoenix pulls up and makes it known that they're aware of why she's called them. But the Queen tells him that's not entirely accurate.
You want us to help you defeat the UED so that you alone will rule the Zerg.
Wrong, Phoenix. I want to defeat them because if we don't, they'll clamp down on this sector and enslave us all. You know I'm right, Jim. You've studied the history of Earth. You know what the UED's agenda is. Taking control of the Zerg is only the beginning for them.
Maybe. I don't know.
Duran then pops back in to advise that something's happened.
My queen, again I beg your pardon for this interruption, but we have a very serious problem.
Perfect timing. Gentlemen, we'll need to finish this conversation later. Continue, Duran.
The Psi Disruptor signal has reached us here on Tarsonis and shattered the unity of your broods. Within the past few hours, your minions have turned on each other and left their hive clusters to run out of control.
This is just what I need. Cerebrate, take the few Zergs still under my control and do what you can to stem any further damage to the hive clusters. I can't afford to have them destroyed by my own minions.
With little control over the forces we once had, we're going to need to move on this. The first mission as the Zerg is a far cry from what we've been used to leading up to this point. Instead of building a base, gathering resources, making units, we just move, and fast. With a force consisting mainly of Hydralisks and a few Zerglings thrown in for good measure, we book it up to the nearest hive. Mid-fight, Duran gives us an update.
My queen, the hive structures are not responding to the Cerebrate's commands. There is no way to reinforce your warriors.
Cerebrate, you'll have to make do with the warriors you have. Slaughter the dissident Zerg in my name.
We launch ourselves over to the next hive only to get ambushed. But once we get there, we can see infighting between the broods. Handling that gives us some additional reinforcements to hit number 3 with. Zerglings prove just how much of a pain in the ass they can be just before we get there, but getting there means we're joined by Scourge. Time out. Of all the units at the Swarm's disposal, we're given the smallest ones to reinforce our ranks. But don't worry, there is a reason, and here it is. Guardians are an absolute nightmare for ground-based units, but a pair of Scourge handle them no problem. With the ground no longer an immediate kill zone, we run out of Scourge to handle the last Guardian. However, the Hydralisks we have can handle this with little to no issues. Being backed up with some more loyal forces means we're able to stave off the assault that comes our way ready for the next hive. We've still got more to be saved, and we're given 4 queens. Not exactly what we could do with, but... oh, right. Ultralisks are doing their thing, but a queen has the Broodling ability, which effectively one-shots anything it hits. I take it back. Very handy. Mutalisks are now in play, which could cause issues, but a Defiler makes itself known, which is a godsend, using its Plague ability to drop hit points rapidly and smooth our efforts. Now we head to the final hive cluster. We're on our last legs here, so whatever we're going to do, we need to be quick about it. The Queen wants this stopped, and that's what we're going to do, with a little help from our friends. Getting to the hive itself alerts the remaining loyal forces that we're here, and they unburrow themselves to help shut this down. Returning to Braxis, Kerrigan gives us what seems to be her honest take of the situation, but as we expect, Reyna doesn't actually give a shit.
The Psi Disruptor is causing me some very serious problems. Although I've regained control of my forces here, it's taking more and more concentration just to keep them in line.
Arcturus joins the channel and demands answers.
Oh, my heart's breaking for you, Kerrigan. Now exactly why was it that you asked Phoenix and I to bring Minx to you?
Are you still suspicious that I'll kill him for abandoning me to the Zerg? I've gotten over it, Jim. We can't afford to let petty hatreds jeopardize our plans for the UED.
That's reassuring.
Arcturus, I presume you found your cold sleep chamber accommodating?
What is the meaning of this, Kerrigan?
Straight to the point, huh? I was hoping to chat. It's been a while.
Not long enough. Why have I been brought here?
Kerrigan goes on to bring him up to speed on what the UED has found, and they enter into a unsteady negotiation.
I need your psi emitters, Arcturus.
Why?
Remember the Confederate psi disruptor that you could never find? Well, the UED found it, and it's preventing me from controlling my minions. With the help of your psi emitters, I can gather up enough Zerg to destroy the disruptor and confront the UED.
And what are you offering me in return?
Ha! Ever the politician. All right, Emperor. If you help me destroy the disruptor, I'll help you retake Korhal from the UED.
A tempting offer. What assurances do I have of you fulfilling your end of the bargain?
The only thing I can assure you of, Arcturus, is that without my help, you'll be the Emperor of your own little 8x8 cell for the rest of your life.
I see that you're still a persuasive speaker. All right, Kerrigan. I'll lend you some emitters, but this had better be worth it.
Hitting the deck, Reyna gives the order to his forces.
All right, boys and girls, listen up. Our objective is to locate and disable the Psi Disruptor's primary power generator. Once we've done that, we'll turn over the mission to Minx and Kerrigan. Let's move out.
I'm gone.
In transit, HQ.
Kerrigan, the generator's offline.
Good work, Jim.
The psi emitter will be carried by one of my SCVs. With the disruptor's power cut, the emitter should be able to get the attention of any renegade Zerg near it. The SCV will then be able to lure the Zerg back to your base. Once the Zerg arrive there, you'll be able to assert direct control over them.
directly to the left are a couple of lost Zerg drones, which makes Kerrigan very happy.
Perfect. With these Zerg, I can construct a new hive cluster. Once my forces have grown strong enough, I can assault the Psi Disruptor directly.
Keeping this SCV safe is just as important as you think it is, so pay attention to where you leave him. You can take a look around the immediate area, grab some Zerglings, but don't send him too far on his own. It will end badly. There are also a few Hydralisks standing around, always nice to have.
Excellent work. Although these Zerg are now under my control, I sense that there are more Zerg out there. We must lure as many of them here as possible.
As always, we're going to need numbers before we start going into the fog. You know the drill. A few defenses along the way is never a bad idea. When you find that your forces are losing, and you will, remember that you can borrow. This will not only give you a view of the surrounding area, but buy your unit some time to heal. Making squads with this tactic makes it easier to swarm enemy positions. Parasites can also give us some additional optics, provided you remember to use it. Okay. Additional resources located. Perfect. We've run out of minerals and needed some, so this works for us. Mutalisks, as always, are handy, especially given that fire bats are wandering around. Using them to handle the Terrans that have dug in reveals that roar. Is that? No, can't be. Remembering the havoc it caused while we were the UED, having Tarask on the battlefield certainly tips the scales in our favor. With the second hive up and running, our economy builds up and gives us what we need to get the rest of the way with Zerg. The Mutalisks go looking and find some more resources for us just as Wraiths come to interfere. Using our queen to find some more Terrans to give a parasite to, we find a Terran encampment giving us a better look at what we're up against. As is quite common for the Zerg side of things, Hydralisks are the go-to here. We do get a little comic relief from the SCV, who makes it known that he's not okay with his current situation.
With all due respect to Miss Kerrigan, sir, these critters make me nervous as hell. I sure would appreciate some immediate evac.
In transit, HQ.
Our forces are primed and ready to go cause some damage, and doing enough to the command center allows us to infest it. Infested Terrans can go do some heavy lifting, making it a tad easier for us to move forward. Using them to aid in the destruction of the Disruptor results in a victory, and we move back to the ready room. Once again, this is a ready room for the ages. Reyna and Mengsk sit facing each other in what could almost be viewed as symbolic, whilst Phoenix kicks things off.
Now that the Psi Disruptor has been destroyed and Kerrigan has regained control of her minions, I fear that she will forget our pact and turn on us.
Jimmy agrees and throws his 2 cents in.
I know what you mean, Phoenix. I'd love to believe that she's on the level, but there's a part of me that just knows better. However, I do believe that she's serious about taking out the UED. The only real question left is what happens to us when she wins.
Mengsk then takes it upon himself to be one of the lads and attempts to join in, but Reyna's response is beautiful.
If you ask me, she's completely untrustworthy. But so long as she'll help me retake Core Hall, I'll work with her.
Shut up, Arcturus. If I wanted your damn opinion, I would have beaten it out of you. And in case you forgot, you're the reason she became what she is in the first place.
But before this can really get out of hand, the Queen arrives and says her piece.
You boys should really learn to play nice with each other.
Kerrigan, are your forces ready to assault Core Hall as we planned?
Nearly. I still need a substantial cache of resources in order to build up my primary hive clusters. I'm wondering if you gentlemen wouldn't mind going on a fuel raid for me.
It sounds like you've already got a plan. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking that we should pay the Kalmorian Combine a little visit. Moria is one of the largest resource nodes in the sector.
Again, something that's covered in more detail in the Law Before series.
If you can bypass their defenses and steal enough resources from them, we'll be able to afford a full-scale assault on Core Hall.
It's risky, but I think we can handle it. Phoenix, are you into this?
If it betters our chances, I will lead the assault myself.
Great. Let's get moving.
Do you think they suspect anything, my queen?
Of course. They aren't stupid, Duran. They're siding with the evil they know over the evil they don't. They simply don't yet realize what it will cost them.
As we start to progress, we're hit by Terran forces. Fortunately, the damage isn't too bad and we get past them to the first resource fields. But Phoenix and Reyna hit us with what almost feels like marital infighting.
It is difficult to believe that I am working alongside my greatest enemy in order to save this sector. Fortune has been whimsical of late.
You sound like a tired old man, Phoenix.
Don't let the fact that I am 368 years older than you dull your impression of me, young Reyna. I can still, how do you Terrans say it, throw down with the best of them.
I stand corrected.
As we heard in the ready room, this is going to be a resource gathering exercise first and foremost, but don't get it twisted. We're going to have plenty of fights along the way, some will even become annoying. There is a small choke point towards the top of our first hive, and siege tanks love to park up and use us for target practice, with the occasional Goliath thrown in for good measure. Carefully positioned ground units can unburrow and hit hard and fast to stop both dead in their tracks. As we move across the map, we rain hell on the Terrans at every available opportunity. It's at this point here that I realized I didn't actually need to do any mining. I just needed to kick the Kelmorians' heads in and, well, minerals appeared in the bank.
Our resource quota, and we'll be returning to Tarsonis.
In position over Korhal once again, the ready room is bursting with violent energy.
You have all performed superbly, especially you, Phoenix. My hive clusters are brimming with energy, and my broods are stronger than ever.
Then let's waste no time. Every moment we sit here means that the UED's defenses will be that much stronger, and I want nothing to stand between us and the retaking of my planet.
Then, the Queen lays it out for us.
You're right, Arcturus. The time to strike the UED is now. But remember that we're up against one of the most heavily defended planets in the sector. Laying siege to Korhal won't be easy. Not only does the UED control a substantial standing army, but may have Zerg reinforcements as well. Raynor, you and Phoenix will strike at the more outlying fortification, while my forces are busy assaulting the main UED base at Augustgrad.
We've discussed this plan 100 times. Commence the damn attack.
Ha! Very well, Arcturus. Before the next sunrise, Korhal will be yours once again.
This is a slightly noticeable change from the maps we've gotten used to. Notice how narrow it is in comparison to what we've just come from. A few Ultralisks are ready to go, and this alone provides the red flag for what's about to happen here. And almost on cue, an enemy Ultralisk pulls up on our sunken colony. We handle it, but not before it causes some damage.
As I suspected, the UED has sent its pet Zerg to reinforce their troops. But strangely enough, there aren't very many Zerg attacking. Maybe the UED is having more difficulty controlling the Overmind than I thought.
Of course, being on Korhal gives a lovely little nod to Star Wars by having an Easter egg in the form of the Tatooine sandworm. As we've seen, the UED is backed up by some Zerg forces under its control. They don't have all of them for sure, but the ones they do have certainly present challenges. Missile turrets and Goliaths serve as an effective deterrent against flying units from our end. The UED bases are also supported by sunken colonies, so be mindful of them too. Friendly reminder here that Nidus canals are a thing. This is going to make reinforcing your units from the rear so much easier. As we move forward, the enemy will be focused on our assaulting troops, given some breathing room for support to be mutated and sent across without too much of an issue. Pay attention to everything else though. A lone Ultralisk will wreck your shit quicker than you realize. Heading to the top of the map, Guardians once again save the day, unleashing damage with ease and clearing the way for us. After a hefty slog across the scorched wasteland, we handle the units thrown at us, enabling us to lay waste to everything standing in our way, enemy overlords included. And once we're done, Kerrigan gives Mengsk the go-ahead to reclaim his broken world, albeit layered with what seems like a subtle threat.
The UED's defenses are broken. Arcturus, you may take possession of this world with my blessings.
Don't be snide, Kerrigan. This was part of the deal, remember? I've earned this. I am Emperor of the Dominion again. I'll be sending General Duke to establish my base of operations in Augustgrad.
I hope you make the most of your reign.
Just as the mission name suggests, the Queen is about to get serious.
Cerebrit, Duran, the time has come to separate the chaff from the wheat. Now that the UED's power base is broken on this world, only their forces on Char pose any significant threat to me. It's time to move to the second phase of my plan.
And what of your allies here on Korhal, my queen? What would you have done with them?
They are of no further use to me. Though they have proven themselves useful, it might be dangerous to allow them to live. Without the services of General Duke, Mengsk will be easy to deal with. But Raynor and Phoenix are uncannily resourceful. They must all be eradicated. Cerebrit, I want both General Duke's and Phoenix's bases destroyed. Leave no one alive.
Whoa, seriously? We're doing this? Before the weight of what we're about to do has time to land, Duran chimes in with one of his ideas.
My queen, if I may suggest a strategy. Both the Protoss and Terran forces are resting after our previous victory. If we attack immediately, while most of them are asleep and unaware, we can whittle down their defenses with relative ease.
Clever. How long after our initial attack can we expect them to regroup and retaliate?
I'd say in 6 minutes.
That only gives us enough time to launch a surprise attack against one base, but it is a sound plan. Cerebrit, feel free to launch your initial attack against either base. Failure is not an option. Slaughter them all in my name.
Okay, so we're going to hit one by surprise and deal with the advance of the other. There's no right choice here. Not really. The Protoss are going to put up much more of a fight considering the shielding, so getting the jump on them might be a good idea, whereas Terrans are pretty easy to handle in early battles, so it all comes down to personal choice. On the ground, it's a bit of a funny one actually. We get a clear representation of both unity and respect as two High Templars sit with some Terran units right before Lurkers arrive and get down and dirty.
What's up? How y'all doing?
Well, that's one way to kick it off. The Lurkers scuttle off to our nearby encampment and we get to work. There is a countdown here, so paying attention to that and dealing as much death and destruction as we can whilst it's still there is key. Once that timer runs down, a Marine sounds the alarm in a way that only a Marine can, but Kerrigan tells us to ignore it.
All units prepare for retaliation. Kerrigan caught us with our pants down, but it's time to start giving some back.
Continue your attack, Cerebrit. Their defenses won't last long against us.
Lurkers provide crucial ground support with little effort. Just watch out for comsats. Siege tanks having your exact location can hurt. Duke, of course, will send battlecruisers to stop us, but we get through it. All the while, Protoss ground units will pull up and start throwing hands at our bases.
Well, if it isn't little Kerrigan, I had a feeling we'd be meeting each other again. You got a lot to answer for, little girl.
General Duke, you know I always wanted to have you killed. This is kind of exciting for me.
Do your worst then, girl. You ain't taking Edmund Duke without a fight.
After some cat and mouse with Duke's battlecruisers, we finally drop the General, and Mengsk tries to take issue with us. And this is where Kerrigan really shows her true colors.
Kerrigan, you murdering bitch. We had a deal.
Oh, come on, Arcturus. Did you really think I'd allow you to come into power again? You practically fed me to the Zerg on Tarsonis. You're directly responsible for the hell I've been through. Did you honestly think I'd let you get away with that?
But you said revenge was secondary to defeating the UED.
I lied. I liberated this planet because it was the UED's primary staging point, not because I was under any obligation to you. I used you to destroy the Psi Disruptor. And now that I've got my broods back, you're no longer necessary for my plans. I think I'll leave you here, Arcturus, among the ashes of your precious dominion. I want you to live to see me rise to power, and I want you to always remember, in your most private moments, that it was you who turned me loose in the first place.
Duke down, and I dare say it, Phoenix is next. As we've come to expect from the Swarm, Guardians are crucial for destruction, and whilst the Protoss forces do their best to answer our attack, it's ultimately useless as Phoenix reaches out.
This is a betrayal most foul, Kerrigan. We were fools to have gone along with this charade.
You're right, Phoenix. I used you to get the job done, and you played along just like I knew you would. You Protoss are also headstrong and predictable. You're your own worst enemies.
That's ironic. I can remember Tassadar teaching you a very similar lesson on Char.
I took that lesson to heart, Praetor. Now, are you ready to die a second time?
The Kala awaits me, Kerrigan. And although I am prepared to face my destiny, you'll not find me easy prey.
Then that shall be your epitaph.
And he's quite right, as he single-handedly takes out several of our Guardians in his last stand, but in what can only be described as a near-heartbreaking moment, Phoenix falls. And this time, there's no coming back. Another hero of Ire has fallen, and with the Protoss already scattered from their prolonged fighting, it feels like this death would go unnoticed. But it doesn't. A friend, a mere Terran, notices, and for the first time in a while, he's angry.
Phoenix! No.
What are you worried about, Jim? He died the way all Protoss hoped to, in combat.
He died because you betrayed him. How many more noble souls do you need to consume before you're satisfied? How many more people need to die before you realize what you've become?
You don't even know what you're talking about, Jim.
Don't I? I'll see you dead for this, Kerrigan. For Phoenix, and all the others who got caught between you and your mad quest for power.
Tough talk, Jimmy. But I don't think you have what it takes to be a killer.
It may not be tomorrow, darling. It may not even happen with an army at my back. But rest assured, I'm the man who's gonna kill you someday. I'll be seeing you.
I'll be seeing you. The tone in which he said that's kind of funny, at least at first glance. But in reality, it comes from the mouth of somebody who's quietly confident. Regardless of how you interpret it, we lost a good friend today. And we as fans of both the franchise and the hero will remember Phoenix. With this bombshell, the only thing that remains is to wipe out what's left of the enemy forces before Kerrigan gives her final announcement, one that feels somehow long overdue.
It is done, Cerebrate. They've all been destroyed. Let us return to Tarsonis to rest. For the first time since my transfiguration, I'm wearied of the slaughter.
2 days after our genocidal rampage on Korhal, we're urgently called by Duran.
My queen, our scouts have just discovered a massive wave of Zerg in high orbit. Hundreds of Zerg have landed upon Tarsonis and are even now approaching our location. A number of our outposts are already under attack by the renegade swarm.
Poor girl can't catch a break.
So the UED is testing out their control of their pet overmind. I had hoped to lay low after we raised Korhal, but it seems the UED is intent on forcing my hand.
Shall I rally your forces, my queen?
Yes, we've got to defend our remaining outposts and make sure that the renegades can't gain a foothold in our immediate vicinity. Once we've secured our perimeter, we'll begin to take the fight to their hive clusters.
This mission has one objective: destroy the renegade Zerg. Without missing a beat, it's all hands on deck as we see the renegades attacking what little we have, and they're not being nice about it either. Zerglings for hard and fast tactics, Hydralisks for added weight, and Lurkers for that definitive fuck you. Any forces still available to us should ideally be rallied over to the central hive cluster to make one unified stand against the invaders. Don't worry about the additional structures, we can always mutate more. A short time into getting settled, Duran notes that he's found some Terrans nestled on the western side of the map, but it's what they've got that has him rattled.
My queen, we have located a small Terran facility towards the rear of the Renegade's landing zone. There appears to be a number of UED scientists working within the compound, but we are unable to determine the purpose of their presence.
Kerrigan isn't surprised though. She knows exactly what's happening.
I know what they're up to. I suspected that the UED's control of the Overmind was tenuous. Tarsonis is too remote for them to maintain direct control over the swarms, so they've sent these scientists to coordinate their attack.
Duran then gives us our orders.
Cerebrit, focus your attacks against the Terran facility. All of the UED scientists must be killed. Only then will we be able to finish off these renegade Zerg.
Getting to the scientists is not going to be the walk in the park we'd like it to be. If we're going to pull this off, we need to take this seriously. Fending off resistance from the enemy Zerg forces enables us to expand our resource gathering and boost the bank balance, and my god, are we going to need it. Ultimately, the success of this mission depends on two things: which units we choose and how many. I opt for Ultralisks and Guardians here, with the occasional set of Mutalisks thrown in for good measure. And yes, the last scientist did take me a while to find. Surprisingly, we're now back over the home of the Dark Templar. We're back at Shakuras. Kerrigan opens by giving us the explanation as to why we're here.
Cerebrit, it's time we return to Shakuras. I have some unfinished business with the Dark Templar matriarch, Rashagal. I'll need to steal her from her tribe before we can finally assault the Overmind on Char.
We're going to what?
However, her defenders will not simply allow us to take her away.
The pylon clusters are generating some sort of electromagnetic field that is preventing our flyers from maneuvering. We won't have any air support at all.
Fantastic. Just fantastic. If you're thinking, well, that's Guardians and Mutalisks out the window, then you'd be right. But just a heads up. Overlord transport is also not an option here. Kerrigan says we need to go about this in a different way, and Duran comes to the table with a bold idea.
Then we'll need some new strategy.
Perhaps it would be best if we stage some kind of diversion, my queen, and claim the matriarch during the confusion.
What did you have in mind, Duran?
The Protoss outpost of Telematros is built upon a large mesa and is essentially impregnable to ground attacks.
Hang on a minute. No air capability and ground forces are useless. What exactly are we meant to be doing here?
However, Telematros is fueled and supported by a number of adjacent pylon clusters. I believe that if we can cause a surge within those pylon clusters, we can cause Telematros power grids to overload. The resulting explosion will be the perfect cover for retrieving the matriarch.
Kerrigan's response to this feels like she's really stepping into the queen role nicely.
Queen? Simple. Devious. I like it. Make it happen, Duran. Cerebrit, you'll provide cover for Duran as he infiltrates the pylon clusters. Let nothing stand in our way.
Time to manage some expectations. This mission is without a shadow of a doubt the Aldaris of missions. It is a dick. No air support. Ground units get wrecked if you don't pay attention and plan properly. Dark Archons mind control units like the Overlords you bring along to detect cloaked units. The whole thing is designed to make you feel like this is a lost cause, and honestly, I love it. Reaching the matriarch of the Dark Templar shouldn't be easy. It should feel frustrating. It should feel out of reach. I like to give the local wildlife a parasite as a gift. You'll be surprised at how far they fly about and just how much they can show us. High Templars will use Psionic Storm at every opportunity, so get ready to lose units. Patience is a key factor for striking, as is keeping an eye on what Duran is doing too. If he falls, the mission is over. Friendly reminder though, you can be a bit more brazen with Duran here. Being infested means that he also has the Zerg's passive healing ability, so don't worry too much about him getting slapped about a little. He'll be fine. Lurkers are great for defense as always, and you're going to want as many spore colonies as possible. Carriers will pull up later on. Nidus canals also play a huge part in mobility here, so don't forget that they sit in your arsenal. Once the final charges are set, Duran tells us we're good to go.
This cluster is ready to overload. My queen, the last charge is set. Telematros will explode on your command.
Very well. Cerebrit, send my minions down to the planet and have them retrieve the matriarch. Duran, ignite the charges.
Ignition commencing.
A 5-second timer appears, and once done, the Protoss get deleted. The Queen gives us the lowdown on both what's happening and what's to come.
The time is finally upon us, my minions, to destroy the wretched Overmind and the last of its renegade Cerebrits. We can count on the UED providing us with heavy resistance, but not even they can stand in our way. Now that the matriarch Rashagal is in my custody, I possess the means to attack the Overmind with impunity.
Duran is a little confused by all of this.
But my queen, I thought only the Dark Templar's energies could harm the Overmind and its Cerebrate. Even with the numerous broods at your command, any attack we launch against the renegades will be in vain.
And that's when the reveal shows its face.
Not so, Duran. As a matter of fact, I'm expecting my secret weapon to be arriving very soon.
As you say, my queen, but I still don't understand why. We are receiving a transmission from an unidentified Protoss carrier.
That's what I love about the Protoss. They're so punctual.
It's Zeratul, and he wants answers.
Kerrigan, this is Zeratul. I demand to know why you've taken our matriarch.
Actually, Zeratul, she's not the one I'm truly interested in. I stole her to get to you. You see, I need you and your brethren to kill the Overmind for me. The only way I had of assuring your cooperation was to take away that which you value most. However, I give you my word that once you've killed the Overmind, I'll allow her to return to you.
As if your word held any value.
Zeratul, my faithful servant, you must aid Kerrigan in this endeavor. The Overmind is our common enemy. It must be destroyed to ensure that our people will survive.
You ask me to aid this vile creature?
I do not ask this for myself, nor do I ask it on Kerrigan's behalf. I ask you to do this for our people, Zeratul. Obey me as you always have. Trust in my judgment.
That last line from the matriarch? Interesting.
Very well, matriarch. The Overmind will die this day.
We start with both our Hive cluster and Protoss forces too. Everything needed to get the tech tree to Dark Templar is already in place, so that's an added bonus considering we don't have probes. Also, Devourers are readily available here, which should wave a red flag in terms of incoming aerial combat. There is an additional set of resources due east of our starting area, so go and get ahead of the curve on those. I'll say it once more for the people in the back. Defenses. Siege tanks prove to be a pain in the arse, as do Renegade Guardians. Trying to break through the UED forces proves to be tricky, as Valkyries are on standby ready to salvo our Mutilisks, and if that wasn't bad enough, they're actually backed up by battle cruisers. Dropships will also arrive out of nowhere and drop Goliaths into the mix. After repeatedly getting our asses handed to us, we get to the Overmind and Zeratul holds up his end of the deal, and what happens next is foreshadowing come full circle.
It is done, Kerrigan. The Overmind is dead, as you wished. Now, I demand that you release the matriarch at once.
Of course. Rashagal, do you wish to return to your tribe?
No, my queen. I wish only to serve you and remain at your side.
What treachery is this, Kerrigan? This pathetic creature cannot possibly be Rashagal.
I promised that I'd allow her to return to you, Zeratul, but it looks to me like she doesn't want to go.
You have corrupted her. Somehow you have poisoned her thoughts. Restore her to her rightful self, or you will pay dearly for this offense, Kerrigan.
All right, Zeratul, you've got me. I made your matriarch my slave long before I joined you on Shakuras.
I hereby order you to terminate Judicator Aldaris and quell this untimely uprising without delay. There will be no dissent among us while the Zerg are poised to strike.
There's something amiss here. The matriarch has always been a wise and gentle soul. Though there is some merit in her decision, this is very unlike her.
I would sooner die, Dark One, than tarnish the memory of Ire by joining with you. Your fate was sealed the moment your matriarch allied herself with the Queen of Blades. Those of us still loyal to Ire will never be slaves to Kerrigan and her broods.
Both of them. They knew. They were right all along.
She made the mistake of underestimating my power, just like everyone else did. And now she's paid the price. With her as my puppet, I was able to eradicate the renegades on Shakuras and use you to kill the Overmind. And as you can see, your leader belongs to me now. Not bad, huh?
We shall see, Kerrigan. We shall see.
We're back on Char, and Duran tells us we're in a strong position, but it's not over yet.
My queen, with the Overmind and its cerebrates destroyed, all of the Zerg in this sector have reverted to your direct control. The remnants of the UED fleet have fled the planet, but I have no idea how many functional ships they still possess. We have finished relocating your primary hive clusters to this orbital platform. However, we do have a problem. Somehow, Zeratul and his brethren were able to bypass our defenses and steal their matriarch away from us.
Damn Zeratul. He is a formidable adversary. Where have they run to, Duran?
Our scouts report that they have regrouped with a number of Protoss survivors on the surface of Char. The matriarch is being held within a stasis cell, leading me to suspect that the Protoss will attempt to take her home to Shakuras.
Kerrigan scoffs at the idea of her rescue. This isn't mind control, this is ownership.
They still believe that she can be saved from my influence. Zeratul will be very disappointed to learn that Rashagal is beyond redemption. How much time before their fleet is ready to debark for Shakuras?
They will be capable of dimensional recall within 30 minutes, my queen.
That may be all the time we need. Cerebrate, mobilize all of my broods and send them to the surface of Char. I want you to bring both the Matriarch and Zeratul to me alive. Terminate the remaining Protoss with extreme prejudice.
This mission gives us a time limit of 30 minutes. To the new entrants of the franchise, this is perfectly doable. To everyone else, hold your horses. Of course I'm going to do it. Right, let's begin. The stasis chamber Duran mentioned to us isn't actually that far away from our starting position, but it's getting there in a meaningful way that becomes the issue. Here's what I do. Get the transport upgrade for the Overlords. Grab a couple of drones and get them over to the next landmass. Mutate a hatchery. Once done, mutate a Nidus canal and put the additional entry point back in the starter base. This is going to make things way faster in terms of mobility. Guardians, as always, are going to be doing the legwork here, so get mining. Hydralisks are good for support and follow-up attacks. Moving across to wipe out the Protoss, High Templar once again become a problem. But in good time, we make it to where we need to be, and now the story goes in.
Damn you, Kerrigan, for what I must do.
Thank you, Zeratul. You have freed me from her vile control at last. You have always served me with honor. Thus, I must ask you to watch over my tribe. Into your hands I give the future.
Kerrigan can't believe it, and Zeratul doubles down on the decision.
I can hardly believe this. You've killed your own matriarch.
Better that I killed her than let her live as your slave, Kerrigan.
Whilst Kerrigan's reply is surprising, it's also not.
Well, I have misjudged you, warrior. You are worthy indeed. You are free to go.
What?
I said you are free to go. I've already taken your honor. I'll let you live because I know that from now on your every waking moment will be torture. You'll never be able to forgive yourself for what I forced you to do. And that, Zeratul, is a better revenge than I could have ever dreamed of.
You will regret this decision, Kerrigan. We shall meet again.
And of course, I completed the mission with more than 5 minutes to spare, which means... So, bonus mission. Sounds cool, right? Well, actually, yes. Without this mission, you would lose a huge chunk of exposition in regards to what's happening in the background and also certain events that transpire in the sequel. First-timers, prepare to have your head melted. Veterans, nostalgia inbound. Uncharacteristically true to her word, Kerrigan allowed Zeratul and a few of his brethren to leave the planet Char with their lives. These weary, battered Protoss set their course for the planet Shakuras with the hopes of finding their comrade Artanis and any other survivors of Kerrigan's wrath. Zeratul kicks things off by updating his brethren on the events that have transpired and what the current plan is.
My friends, we have suffered a great defeat. Our matriarch is dead. Our fleets have been scattered across the astral winds. And Kerrigan has gained complete control over the Zerg swarms. Yet, as always, we must struggle onward. Our immediate priority is to find Artanis and his warriors. Once we have made contact with him, we can return to Shakuras and plan our next moves.
A High Templar joins in by advising that they've picked up something strange, somewhere even stranger.
Prelate Zeratul, we are currently tracking Protoss power signatures emanating from an uncharted moon nearby. Our records do not indicate that there has ever been a Protoss settlement in this quadrant. Strange. It could be Artanis or other survivors of our fleet down there. At any rate, it is our duty to investigate the source of the energy signatures. Set your course for the Dark Moon. If Artanis is there, we shall find him.
The High Templar confirms that Terrans seem to be suspiciously close to these signatures.
Zeratul, our sensors have detected a small Terran compound near the source of the energy signatures. Understood. I'll look into this matter myself.
Warping into the map, Zeratul is accompanied by a couple of Dragoons and a bunch of Dark Archons. This might seem like overkill, but trust me, you're going to be grateful you've got them. Using Zeratul's permacloak, we go for a look around, only to find some Marines supported by siege tanks. And this is where it gets fun. Zeratul is able to one-shot the Marines here, but it's the tanks we're interested in. Using the Dark Archons, we're able to mind control the siege tanks to join us. A second Dark Archon takes over the science vessel. Not only is siege mode now on our side, but so is the defensive matrix and irradiate. Enemy ghosts make appearances throughout here, and the science vessel is great to handle them, provided they don't get locked down first. Watch out for medics though. They love an optical flare, which makes using siege mode tricky. Another siege tank found, another addition to our forces. Slapping a defensive matrix on a Dark Archon is useful to mitigate damage. Using that science vessel, we actually find several stasis chambers scattered around the map, and we send Zeratul in to investigate.
There is a Protoss in this cell.
Danger. Test subject 23 suffering from psychic feedback. Pylon crystals at critical stage. Cell meltdown imminent.
Damn. The Terrans are having more trouble utilizing pylons than I thought. And I still have no clue as to why they had imprisoned that Protoss within the cell.
Moving down, we run into a more organized set of defenses in the form of photon cannons. But we're able to deal with that by taking out the pylons. Marines will try to slow us down, but it's pointless. And suddenly, battlecruiser. which is now ours, because why not? Time for the second cell. Tip: send Zeratul up close and personal on this one. Once that cell breaks, an infested Terran comes out ready to charge at our tank, but the Dark Templar makes short work of it before it becomes a problem. Third cell broken, and this time, a standard Archon. Now, there really is no rhyme or reason to why these particular units are in stasis, at least not yet. Fourth cell. Zeratul can't believe what he's hearing, but it's undeniable.
What's this? There is a Zergling in this tank. What is going on here?
Test subject 27 in cryohibernation. Neuroscan completed and archived. DNA code computed and archived. Gene splicing between test subjects 25 and 27 completed. Experiment 2273 progressing.
By the gods, this can't be happening.
Fifth cell.
As I suspected, there are more stasis cells here. There's a Protoss within this cell as well. Maybe this computer terminal can give me the answers I seek.
Test subject 25 in cryohibernation. Neuroscan compiling data. DNA code computed and archived. Psionic emanations minimal.
The audacity of these Terrans confounds me. If they seek to know more about Protoss warriors, I will give them a first-hand lesson.
He views his experiments as a way for the Terrans to potentially understand and weaponize Protoss abilities to their favor. We pick up some additional heavy hitters as we work down towards the final stasis cell, and you're going to want to pay attention here. This is both amazing and terrifying.
I've never seen a creature like this before.
Test subject 29 classified. Protoss Zerg hybrid, imperfect cryohibernation. Psionic emanations minimal.
No.
And just when you thought it couldn't get any madder, watch this.
Magnificent, isn't it? What? Who are you?
I've had many names throughout the millennia, young prodigal. You would know me best as Samir Quran.
Kerrigan's consort. Is this part of her twisted schemes?
No. Young Kerrigan could not have engineered this grand experiment. Although her rebirth into this Zerg swarm has sped up my progress, I can assure you that this endeavor is quite beyond her narrow understanding.
If you are not her pawn, then what are you?
I am a servant of a far greater power. A power that has slept for countless ages, and is reflected in the creature within that cell.
Have you any conception of what you've created here? Do you have any idea what this hybrid is capable of?
Of course I do. This creature is the completion of a cycle. Its role in the cosmic order was preordained when the stars were young. Behold the culmination of your history.
All I behold is an abomination.
Your violence, young prodigal, is typical, as is your inability to comprehend the greater scheme of things. You can destroy all of the specimens here. It will do you no good. For I have seeded the hybrid on many, many worlds. You will never find them all before they awaken. And when they do, your universe will be changed. Forever.
The one takeaway I urge you to have here is Duran's voice. No longer is it just infested. It sounds otherworldly. The bonus mission comes to an end here, and we're sent back to the final mission of Brood War. Left with the unsettling knowledge of the hybrid, Zeratul returned to his ship and left the Dark Moon behind. Unable to explain his numbing discovery to his companions, he could only sit and fear for the future of the universe. The final mission of Brood War is aptly named Omega. Not only is it the 24th and final letter of the Greek alphabet, it's a word that universally symbolizes the end, the ultimate limit or the grand conclusion of something. Bracing ourselves for what surely is going to be one hell of an end. We're over Char. But what we're greeted with isn't the cold and calculated approach of the Queen of Blades, rather the concerned and tired warning from Kerrigan.
Cerebrit, our scouts have just identified 3 separate fleets approaching this platform, with Duran having disappeared, and the bulk of my brood still on the surface of Char. You'll need to hold off the invaders by yourself.
And just when you think we're going to get some direction on how we're going to fend these so-called fleets off, the ready room quickly turns into the diplomatic equivalent of a cage fight.
You sound worried, Kerrigan. Have I caught you at a bad time?
Not at all, Arcturus. How'd you manage to scrape up your new fleet? Been raiding the salvage dumps again?
I called in a few favors, made a few concessions. You'd be surprised to see how many special interest groups in this sector want to see you dead.
I'm sorry to have to disappoint your new friends, Arcturus, but you really shouldn't have attempted this stunt. It'll take more than your 3 little fleets to bring me down.
3 fleets?
Don't play dumb, Arcturus. I've already spotted the other 2 fleets.
Kerrigan, this is Artanis. My brethren and I have come to avenge the deaths of Phoenix, the Matriarch, and all of the other Protoss who fell before the Swarm. It is long past time you paid for your crimes against our people.
When it rains, it pours.
The Protoss, too. Care to take a guess as to who the 3rd fleet is?
No need to guess. It's Dugal and the remainder of the UED fleet.
That is correct, Kerrigan. This is Admiral Dugal. I am giving you one last chance to surrender your forces and submit to the sovereign authority of the United Earth Directorate.
Gee, that's a tough one, Admiral. You'll have to let me think for a minute. You know, Admiral, I think I'll just massacre your remaining troops now and watch you die in agony. How would that be?
You vastly underestimate me, my dear.
I don't think so, Admiral. You see, at this point, I'm pretty much the queen bitch of the universe. And not all of your little soldiers or spaceships will stand in my way again.
So be it.
One by one, the screens fade as we enter into a 4-way deathmatch. Let's go. Once everyone falls, Dugal radios across to admit defeat, but he doesn't seem to understand. The rules of surrender don't apply here. They never have.
I am prepared to offer terms of surrender. It is my wish that you allow my men to live.
You're not in a position to offer me anything, Admiral. And I don't take prisoners. I'll tell you what. Turn your remaining ships around and start heading back towards the Earth. I'll even let you have a head start before I send the swarms after you. It'll be interesting sport to see how far you get before you die.
The final cinematic of Brood War is one that shows the aftermath of the final battle. I've said this before, I'll let it play its course. But before I do, it has been an absolute pleasure bringing this story to you all, and I want to take a second to thank you for your support. With the following cinematic, we come to an end of the original Starcraft games, and what a journey it's been. I also want to give a massive shout out to Zerg Ultralisk, who is actually my first Patreon member. Thanks for keeping the dream alive. I'll see you all in the next one.
Once again, I stand atop the broken bodies of my enemies, victorious, but not unscarred. The Earthborn Directorate has been destroyed, and the Overmind lies dead and trampled beneath the ashes of Char. As for my unlikely allies, I think that I shall allow them a reprieve. For in time I will seek to test their resolve and their strengths.
They will all be mine in the end. For I am the Queen of Blades. None shall ever dispute my rule again.
Dearest Helena, by now the news of our defeat has reached the Earth. The creatures we were sent here to tame are untamable, and the colonies we were sent to reclaim have proven to be stronger than we anticipated. Whatever you may hear about what has happened out here, know this. Alexei did not die gloriously in battle. I killed him. My pride killed him. And now my pride has consumed me as well. You will never see me again, Helena. Tell our children that I love them, and that their father died in defense of their future. Over.